Not the chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise.
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good.
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod. Hello, and welcome to Chuddle the Pod, where horror movie lovers break into cemeteries, get naked, and have a feel-good time. We always keep it spoiler-ish free up top, so you can decide whether or not you want to see it before the spoilers crawl up from their graves seeking live brains. Because in this episode, it's party time! Because we're about to Chuddle Return of the Living Dead! Ooh, amped. Oh yeah, this is.
I mean, it's a big one.
It's a big one.
It is a biggie.
This is again. It's the Patreon pick. It is one of my favorite movies, but also this is the 100th movie that we have covered. So
That's
you
wild.
can't see it because it's auditory in your ears, but there's confetti and balloons around all of us right now. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like our opening weekend.
Sam is sitting inside of a cake.
It's weird.
wild.
Where are
Brian's at the
weird.
beginning of the Scream 2.
So as you can hear,
100
the lovely voices of Brian,
Huh?
Sam,
Sup?
and our special ooey gooey guest star of the evening. He's the host of Fun with Horror, a horror movie review podcast, Scotty.
Oh my God!
Thank
Hi
you.
guys.
Hey.
Welcome. We are so stoked to have you.
I am so stoked to be here, and one of the hosts of Fun with Horror, Andrew, could not be here.
Yes, that is true.
We'll have him on soon.
Sadly, his car got stuck in a tar pit, and he's working his way out of it.
Oh
but
He's
might take him a while.
He's breastfeeding, and lots of things going on with Andrew.
Multitasking.
He needs that.
Sounds pretty busy. Yeah.
He needs that
Understandable.
He needs that baba.
Yes. Rossi loves that baba.
Totally get it.
Rossi loves that baba.
Rossi wants that baba.
If anybody could understand a baba, this man could
Attest
understand a
to that.
baba.
So I want to, real quick,
Mm.
say thank you for joining us. That's awesome.
Oh,
We're super excited about this. We talked about it before. All of us kind of jumped in and listened to the same episode when we were kind of checking out your podcast as well and vibing with that. So I want to say to everyone who's listening here, definitely go check their shit out because
Fun
it's
with
Chuddle
horror.
approved.
Chuddle approved. Fun with Horror is a lot of fun.
Wherever you find your podcasts, I assume.
wherever, yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Costco.
Can I put a little badge on it now that says Chuddle approved?
Yes. It's just a
Absolutely.
goose splat.
Certified
We'll
Chuddle is what
we'll
we
get you the certified
Chuddle
shuttle
goose splat.
stamp.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, we should put like those, like, whatever those things are that are around like a festival, like a film
Like a
festival.
wreath?
Oh, wreath. But
Yeah,
like a
whatever
goo?
it is. Yeah.
But
It'll be like the certified Chuddle, so you can put that on there.
Oh,
and
sure.
feel
nice.
it
like
was,
an award from
official.
Sundance or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like those temporary
I've only
Facebook
shit.
the Facebook banners, the temporary ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll
profile
just be
photos?
like
Perfect. Beautiful.
gooey mess all over your face.
Cool. We don't even have to go any further. That's great.
Apologize.
We don't even have to cover the movie, Sam. That was the crescendo of the episode.
Oh, no way.
Before we continue, and then begin to continue, I must take this moment to thank our coven of patrons. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank you for your beautiful, beautiful souls.
Thank you.
Patrons get exclusive content, a Discord oasis, and numerous voting rights, which include, but is not limited to,
Stuff.
movie stuff, limited to themed movie cycles, our non-horror Patreon movie picks, and our Patreon picked episode, which is what you're listening to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Join our Patreon today. Get these sweet advantages on top of our entire back catalog of content and exclusive episodes, interviews, and boiled downs found nowhere else on the planet. And also new and improved video of our shenanigans and faces while recording. What? Is this real?
What?
No.
Just for the
Just
For
for
the
them?
patron episodes.
For money?
for the Patreon episodes,
That's
not these episodes.
Not
crazy.
these episodes.
Wait,
Yeah.
nobody
You make it
told me
worse,
about
Scotty.
this. I would have put some clothes on.
You're not,
That's why we didn't
don't
tell
worry.
you.
Don't worry. The balloons will cover everything. The confetti and the balloons are covering all of our naked bodies.
Oh,
right
thank God.
Our Patreon's about to shoot up.
That's good because I already have.
Hey! And if you want to see it, join our Patreon.
Now, with that beautiful keynote, with all club members present and the covenant vowed, it is time to crack open that goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Sergio.
Thank you, Sergio. All right, let's get into our synopsis. When two bumbling employees at a medical supply warehouse accidentally release a deadly gas into the air, the vapors cause the dead to rise again as zombies.
Yeah, that's solid.
Pretty much nailed it.
Yeah,
Pretty much nailed it.
That's it? That's the whole synopsis?
That's
It's the IMDb, like the little line. I don't know what they call it.
We call it the synopsis.
I mean, spoilers, jeez.
Yeah, right.
Sure. Some of them are real bad, but that one, in terms of being
pretty on
concise
the nose.
and kind of let you know.
Give you an idea. I think it does. If anything, I think it should throw in like I don't know, something about punk rock or punk, and maybe like in this riotous. They do say, what do they say? Fumbling. So I guess
bumbling.
That gives you
two bumbling employees.
It gives you an idea. It might be comedic, so that's good.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's good.
This job.
And
our toe tagline: they're back from the grave and ready to party.
One of the best.
Great.
One of the best. Which is, it's such a, all right, we're going to get into it, but that's such, I like that do you want to party? It's party time, and ready to party is kind of the mantra, but there's some really dark stuff about that song.
Kind of the mantra. Sort of my mantra.
Maybe this is for a question later, but if this film was like remade or made in like a soundtrack now, not now, maybe when we were living together in 2006 or 7, the soundtrack would have been like maybe some Andrew WK, like party.
Like Thursday.
I absolutely thought I want to see the entire soundtrack. It would have been Andrew WK's Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah. I want to see Andrew WK's The Return of the Living Dead on Broadway.
I'd see that.
Ooh.
With Splatter Row and everything.
So he writes the music for it.
Yes. That's what I want.
Movies are made by people, and the people that made this movie are. This movie is directed by Dan O'Bannon, written by Rudy Ricky, John A. Russo, and Russell Senior. Some of our key players in the film are Clu Gallagher. Glugler?
Gulager.
Right out the gate. I just fucked that up right out the gate.
Gulager.
Clu Gulager as Bert, James Garrett as Frank, Don Calfa as Ernie, Thom Matthews as Freddie, Beverly Randolph as Tina, John Philbin. What? Did I fuck that up?
No, continue.
Pretty sure it's Tom. Go ahead.
Thom. It's THOM. Thom.
Like Jeff Goff. It's
like Jeff, like Jeff spelled with the GEO.
Listen, Sam. Listen, Voodoo Master.
I'm just saying.
This is fantastic.
John Philbin is Chuck. Joel Shepard is Casey. Miguel A. Nunez Jr. as Spider. Brian Peck as Scuzz. Leanna Quigley as Trash. Mark Venturney as Suicide. Jonathan Terry as Colonel Glover. Kathleen Cordell, the very important role as Colonel's wife. And then that's pretty much
that covers our main folks.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure it's Linnea Quigley.
Yes, it is.
Probably Linnea Quigley. Yeah,
it is.
None of these,
or her sister, Liana.
Oh, I am notorious for butchering names.
Yes,
like
this
no
is
one's
like
business.
Classic Purvis right here.
It's his weird superpower. Everyone has a dumb superpower.
It's endearing.
And mine is just it could be a basic name. I'm gonna railroad it immediately.
Ross, I want you to know my cockles boil over every time that happens.
Just completely fuck it up.
It just makes me love you so much more.
I feel bad for my kids when they bring friends over, and I'm gonna consistently say their names wrong, different every single time.
That's gonna be so.
I thought you were gonna say something different. I thought you were gonna say I feel bad for my kids when I mispronounce their names every day.
Oh, I already do that. They're used to that. Like they're absolutely used to that.
Girl and boy.
All right. Well, I think it's time.
So these people here. So I got to call out someone real quick.
Oh, that's right. I do have some call outs.
Well, as a bad person, Brian
which
Peck.
one?
I don't know if you guys have.
is
I mean,
that?
he has definitely come into the spotlight recently with the Quiet on the Set documentary that's come out.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Yes, he was. I don't know. Do I have to say allegedly, I don't know, or whatever. He was, I think, convicted and like, or whatever, of assault of a minor, and like had like a bunch of like really bad shit. And I think he's the one that assaulted with Drake Bell. Yeah, he plays Scuzz.
Yeah, I did not even make the connection when I was looking at the cast list.
When I saw the cast list, I saw that
yet.
I've heard his name. My wife is known about like him and like the Dan Schneider and all that shit before this documentary came out, so I've been hearing about it for a while now. So I just like that name like piqued an interest. I was like, oh shit, I had no idea.
That's oh god.
So Scuzz lives up to his name.
Scuzz does live up to his name. Tom Matthews is
now bring it back up.
adult Jarvis in
Tommy
Friday the
Jarvis.
13th Part 6. And we got a double header. Miguel A. Nunez Jr. and Mark Venturini. There we go. 10 points. Are in Sam's favorite Roy Boy Part 5. And if you don't know like Mark's like role in Part 5, he's Axe.
He kicks it
he's
off
the Axe
all.
Kid.
He kicks it all off.
Yeah.
He kills Roy's son.
Yeah.
That's a
He's the
pretty
reason
important
this-
character.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's pivotal.
And then Spider is ooh baby, ooh baby.
Damn these enchiladas.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
My guy.
I think it's time for our Splish Splash Goo-Goro-meter.
It's time for the Goro.
Fatality.
Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the... I should just say Pizza to the Sadness at this point, because we've reached a different... Anyways, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this film? You know what? I'm going to start it with Sam.
Don't start
It's another
with
zombie
me, 'cause I
movie.
forgot
It's
that
another zombie
we're
movie. You
doing
have
this
zombie
again.
blindness. I want to know what your number is before everybody else.
I forgot about this. You would think doing it every episode.
You
is
think after
100 times?
But all right, Goro meter. Let's see here. Starts off fairly slow. So for frequency, I'm gonna give it a 2.5, and for intensity, give it a 3.5. So that's a 6. 6 feels high. Okay, I'm gonna say 5.
Really?
5 down the middle.
Interesting. Okay.
I had mine. I had mine at a 3 to 4. My Goro meter was at like between a 7 and an 8.
Again, the zombie blindness could be jacking me up.
Yeah.
You have severe zombie blindness, but I mean, I would say maybe at least a 6.5 to a 7 or something like that. You do see brains getting eaten, and I guess that's gory, but I mean,
Brains getting eaten, brains getting spilled out.
There's a lot of gooey
I didn't want to
stuff.
go first. I wanted to hear you guys talk first. You made me go first.
You did this.
Really? Because what about all this?
What about all this, Sam? Scotty, what do you think?
I gave it a 3 and a 3 to make it a 6.
Okay.
All right,
So
I'm
yeah,
back
between
up
like-
at 6. I'm back up at 6.
I thought it was a 3 in intensity and sustainability, or whatever the second one is.
Consistency.
Oh, the consistency. Yeah.
Consistency,
but
thank you.
that-
I
but still-
get the
that's-
words
that-
wrong.
That's on track though, because we got like basically kind of like a 5, 6, 7. So within that range-ish, I
6
feel
to
would
7.
be
Yeah.
kind of
Sam recanted his 5 and
You
put it back
recanted
to a
his 5.
6.
Bump.
Yeah, I'll pop back up.
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
easily swayed.
All right.
Who is the horror forward?
All right. Let's start off with some subgenres. What do you guys think this kind of stumbles and lurches its way into?
Horror
I mean,
comedy.
Horror comedy, zombie
Yeah.
fiasco.
I would say also punk rock horror. There's not a lot of them, but this is definitely one of the granddaddies of punk rock horror.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
you
good
could
one.
certainly call it that.
I agree.
I was about to say, if that's a thing, sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
It's not a huge thing, but it's still a thing.
I mean, yeah, if you want the punk rock version of a Romero zombie movie and just like amped up to be a comedy thing, like,
And it's even like satirizing punk, you know what I mean? It's so cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly fun with horror. Am I right?
hey.
All right. So what kind of environment is this best to watch it? Are we doing, I mean, I think it's both, but honestly, this movie's a fucking riot having people with you.
At this point, I'd want to go to like, a theater re-release viewing with a bunch of fans where everybody's just having a good time.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm. That would be amazing.
But that's knowing the movie first. Let's say it's a first watch, still best with friends. Like this movie is a good time. Do you want to party?
I had a great time watching it with my cats.
You could watch it with friends or felines. Either one of them is going to work out perfectly.
I had a great time watching it when there was no kids in the house.
Right? It's hard to explain to children a few of the scenes. Well, actually, speaking of, do you think it's for beginners?
Yeah, I totally. I mean, I wish this movie had been shown to me when I first got into horror. God, I wish this had been shown to me when I first got into horror. I didn't see it till I was in my early 20s.
I think it depends what kind of horror the person's looking for, what kind of beginner they're looking for. But I think it can be, yes.
I feel like it's like a second step. Like
that's a good
you
way.
watch certain gateway horror movies and then you jump into Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This would almost be a fun one if you were getting into horror and you had already done the Romero trilogy. Mm-hmm. And then hopped into this to see kind of just like, because at that point you're going to know some of the classic rules of zombies and how they're bent, broken, and disformed in this one, I feel.
Right.
Well, a true story. I saw this one first before any other zombie movie. This was my first.
Oh, wow.
Back when I was a teenager.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's fun.
I don't remember how it affected me when I saw Night of the Living Dead not too long after, but I mean, I love that one too, but this one,
right.
This one will always be my first.
Where's this doesn't seem right.
This is too easy.
This is too easy.
Why are they dying? This is too easy.
The boobs and the music.
Where's the boobs?
Where's the boobs and the music? Do you hear that flapping?
Yep.
Fat, 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 flap, fat, 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 fat.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sam, for that fap.
That wasn't me.
I'm saying thank you for opening the window for the Mothman to come into fapping. Wait, what?
You got this. Land it.
What does the Harbinger of Doom say about this? The only thing that I had written down was half dog abuse.
There's definitely retching noises and
vomiting stuff.
Grosso, gooey stuff. If you're opposed to tar.
If you're taken back by cemetery desecration and full frontal nudity,
there is a weird animal thing that kind of happens where they're animal abuse to an extent, but it's
that's half dog. See, I put it's half dog abuse. It's not full dog abuse. It's only half dog abuse.
But you hear whimpering. That's tough. Yeah.
And I even cringed a little at that, even though it's very dated and everything, but you still do. I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah. It's not the half dog's fault that it got resurrected. Right. And now it's getting beat.
And it's the whimpering that really does it. If you didn't hear it would but the whimpering is like, my tummy.
You're like, no. All right, guys. Well, I think we got to load these barrels into the back, hop into our military grade transports, and head on to that.
Spoiler zone.
Ooh, yeah. All right, let's get into the IMDb
but just for
behind the scenes. See, I'm waiting for Sam's approval.
You did it. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I talked over the whole thing and you
did.
Crushed it.
It's fine. I'll get over it. Sorry. All right. So this actually was okay. So there are so many behind the scenes on this, like counting into
it's cool.
Like 100 plus. I have a book behind me in my library just dedicated to Return of the Living Dead. There are so many. I almost feel like I need to do a Patreon exclusive of just behind the scenes. So I tried narrowing it down to some of the highlights, and I sprinkled a little bit of that like trioxin gas throughout the movie to kind of accentuate some stuff. So
perfect.
Here we go. In an unprecedented move, a fan of the film started an internet campaign to get the movie released on DVD. Going beyond simple fan petitions, Michael Allred created a web page consolidating every bit of news related to the film and contacted many of the film's principals, including the writer and director Dan O'Bannon. He went on to put O'Bannon in touch with MGM, the studio that owned the film, and work began to getting the film released on DVD. O'Bannon and others who worked on the film credited Allred for his campaign for getting the movie actually released on DVD. So if it wasn't for him, it would have taken a way longer time for this to happen, right?
I just bought my first official copy of it on 4K UHD.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I have destroyed many DVDs of this. I think this is probably the most bought DVD in my collection. For whatever reason, it gets borrowed and just gets lost. It gets, this is like, if you want zombie movies, this is the one I just throw at people all the time.
Somebody burned this and gave it to me, and so I had a burned copy on DVD, and that was, 2012. I don't know. It was, I think about 12 years ago, because every year Facebook reminds me, because I had posted, I can't believe nobody showed me Returning the Living Dead before, and you are the comment on it, Ross, and you said, I'm sorry, I can't believe I never showed this to you.
I feel terrible about this. All right, so on the back of Freddy's jacket in the theatrical version has the words "fuck you" huge on the back of that jacket. After realizing that shot could not be used in case it was ever shown on TV, a second jacket was made that says television version, and you can actually be seen on the TV version of this movie.
Oh wow.
Which is ridiculous.
That's
so some of the zombie extras in this movie were paid extra to eat real calf brains in the movie. Dan O'Bannon didn't want the actors to do anything that he wasn't willing to do, and actually ate some raw calf brains in front of the actors first, just to show them he wouldn't ask them to do anything that he wouldn't do actively himself, which caused a bunch of the actors just to eat raw calf brains.
I'd be like, good for you, bruv. Keep eating that brains. I will not get paid the extra money.
Yes. Okay, so this one I did not know until doing research into this, and I thought I knew a bunch of different ones. So the character Ernie in this movie, who is our mortician, is actually thought to be a Nazi due to him sharing his name with Ernst Kaltenbrunner. There are also character details that provide an indication of his past. Ernie listens to the German Afrika Korps marching song while he's doing his embalming. He carries a German Walter P-38, has a picture of Eva Braun in his morgue, refers to the rainstorm in German, which means a drunk soldier, and apparently is super surprised to learn that the dead can feel pain. Dan O'Bannon in a DVD commentary mentions that Ernie was actually intended to be an escaped Nazi in hiding, but they just never did that plot point. So they gave all these Easter eggs to be like, there, he was. But then totally. They're like, you know what? Maybe too much.
We'll take that. Gonna like this.
Yeah. We already shot all this stuff, but I was like, damn it. I read it. I was like, God damn it. I liked Ernie. That's terrible.
Right? I don't know how I feel about him now.
Now I don't know how I feel about him.
Nazi? Oh.
Yeah. God damn it. That's what's his name?
So it's technically not true.
It's like that guy from, was that Possession?
Yeah, but knowing that he has a picture, he's like a Nazi enthusiast.
He's a bad man.
With that guy either.
Yeah.
He's a German. He could just be a German.
All right, so John A. Russo had previously teamed up with George A. Romero to make Night of the Living Dead in 1968. Afterwards, both men had different ideas for sequels, so they parted ways, and Russo started working on an adaptation of a novel that he had written called The Return of the Living Dead, while Romero was making Dawn of the Dead in 1978. So Tom Fox, an independent producer, bought Russo's script. He set up production and gave the script to Dan O'Bannon. However, O'Bannon refused to direct it as it was written. He felt it was way too close of a serious attempt at making a sequel to Night of the Living Dead and not anything kind of new original. So he wanted to... he did not want to intrude so directly onto Romero's turf, in his words. So it was rewritten to occur in a fictional universe where Night of the Living Dead is an actual movie based on true events with more humor, up to the point where it only superficially resembled the novel. Also, Return of the Living Dead invented the popularized notion in the public's conscious of zombies eating specifically brains, as opposed to just flesh.
Yes, right.
And that movie's groaning brains as they walk. This is also the first film ever to show zombies being able to run, as well as being able to speak, and also being in possession of more than base animal instincts. In a critical scene in the movie, a zombie who has killed one of the characters is tied to a table, only exists in half torso, and explains the dead seek brains because eating brains makes the pain go away. It's also a popular misconception that George A. Romero invented the specific trait as part of his Night of the Living Dead series, although he has emphasized it was not his idea. The last one, thing? Which okay, say what?
Romero emphasized the brains thing was not his idea.
Yeah, it was a specific trait as part of the Night of the Living Dead series. Jewel Shepard. This is the last one. I thought this was fucking great. Jewel Shepard, I think who plays, I always fuck up her name in this one. Casey, has, she didn't understand the phrase "go choke a chicken." So when her character says it in the movie, she had so much trouble with it. They shot that scene 45 times to get it right.
Couldn't they just tell her what it was a euphemism for? Like,
yeah, couldn't they just?
They literally, as directed result of this, 45 takes were done before Shepard finally said the line right. And O'Bannon would refuse to, like, he was like, no, we're getting this. So you need to say it correctly.
Why?
Sounds like that's confusing to me.
Isn't that insane? I was like, just have her say the line.
Yeah. Like, how hard is it to say "go choke a chicken"?
It's a euphemism for jerking off. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, but like way over. Yeah.
Even if I didn't know what it meant, like, it's not that hard to say "choke your chicken."
Right.
Go choke your chicken.
Go choke.
There, Academy Award right there.
It was a weird one because, like, I think they bring it up in other things too. O'Bannon. Chicken. O'Bannon actually met Jewel Shepard at a exotic dancer club. So she was a dancer at the time. And then they became friends because O'Bannon was giving her drugs. So then they would talk about this. And then the original part of Trash was supposed to go to Jewel Shepard. And she's like, nah, I've been naked. Like, I do naked stuff all the time. I don't want to do naked stuff anymore. So, like, I'll be like the party girl, Casey, because, like, I'll fucking party. So that's when Leanna was able to get the part as Trash. So, yeah, got it right this time. All right. Let's I didn't get it right. I didn't get it right that time. Linnea. Let's just get into it.
Get into it.
I absolutely love the opening card of this. The events portrayed in this film are all true. The names are real names and the real people and real organizations. What a great way just to start off a zombie movie, just being like, this was real.
Especially considering what we get so quickly, like just how almost like screwball it is. Not quite screwball, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is real and this is serious. Check it out. And it's like, ding, 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 look at these skeletons, bing, bong, bing.
July 3rd, 1985, and you're right, Sam, we are at the Unita Medical Supply. Owner Bert heads out as foreman Frank is showing the ropes of the medical supply business to the new employee, Freddie. Bert, ahead of time, tells the boys, no matter what, don't name it after him.
Don't name it after me.
They start, don't name it, just like, slaps and then just like runs off. So they start going through the ins and outs. They discuss skeleton farming in India and the actual question of how the hell do these skeletons have perfect teeth?
Perfect teeth.
Okay, so actually I've got a little behind the scenes for that. Regarding the line where Frank tells Freddie about the skeleton farm in India, O'Bannon recalls working on Alien and having H.R. Giger request fresh skulls to aid his designs. They were all wrapped in plastic just like that, and they were the most beautiful skulls I've ever seen, like works of art with teeth that were all perfect. I was told they were ordered from India. Toby Hooper suggested the skeleton farm line, and a few months after the film opened, O'Bannon read a report that the government of India had stopped all deportations of skeletons for medical purposes. It's super unclear if it was coincidence or it was brought up in film, so they decided to stop sending them out.
Interesting.
I like that.
Yeah, right. Also, like you're saying, we get split dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, don't fool around. You're learning. We also get a peek at the frozen green cadaver in the freezer. Even before this fucking dude comes alive, the idea of it being held by an ear pincher that's in his fucking ears was so gross to me. Like, I don't know. The whole thing just hung by his head in his ears. It's just like, hated it.
Sure.
Is that just,
didn't even think about it.
What did we do our history with this?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Who picked it and why? It's a Patreon pick. I mean, we can backtrack. Let's do it.
But I don't know your history. How far back does this go for you, Ross? Because when you were saying it was gross for you, I wonder if that's because it was gross for you when you first saw it, so it still stands out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I think this is one of my first zombie movies. So I would have to say, I mean, oh man, maybe early double digits. Like, I know I saw this on VHS for sure. So like maybe 10. Like a movie that I shouldn't have been watching at that age.
Right.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So but it's also weird though, because like the main gore never got to me. It was all these weird, subtle things. Like to me, the top 3 creepiest things about this movie are the ear pinchers for the cadavers. Makes no sense. I was like, oh God, why? No, hate it. What about you guys? I mean, Scotty, we know that this was your first zombie movie before the Romero ones. What about Sam? What do you guys introduce to this?
I pretty much said mine as well. Somebody gave me a burned copy, and I was like, how did nobody show this to me? And that was about 14 or 15 years ago, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. I don't have much of history with it. I've seen it before.
I mean, I would also add that I don't know if I know I saw it back when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't even on VHS. I think I recorded it off Cinemax or something. And the thing is, I don't think I watched this movie since those days. I probably saw it a few times just because of Linnea Quigley.
Yeah.
And I don't think I watched it again until for this podcast.
Really?
That's interesting. Okay, awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing the July 3rd date card. You know, people posted on July 3rd all over Twitter.
Right, of course.
And it took me a long time to be like, oh, what is this cute thing? And then, oh, it's Return of the Living Dead.
Right.
Like, oh, right.
Yeah, even though I discovered it then and loved it, I've only watched it, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times before watching it 3 times for this. So I have watched it a good amount now. But as much as I love it, I'm surprised. It's a movie that I always talk about, I want to watch again, but don't really compared to other stuff.
Totally. I think I revisit this movie at least maybe like once or twice a year, but I also fool around with part 2 because I also love part 2.
You do.
Part 2 is ridiculous.
I'm a fool.
But you like this one? You like this one more?
Oh yeah. I think the OG one is great. I think I find more humor in the second one, but I think that's on purpose. You know what I mean? I think part 2 is like, it's got those, but there's something about this one that is just so gross and just, I don't know. It hit all the notes for me.
So if you watch this one once or twice a year, would you say that this is maybe in your top 10 or 20 horror movies of all time?
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Easily. This would be in my, I would probably say top 10.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So as they, Freddie asks Frank, what's the weirdest thing that you've ever seen here? And he goes into a story about the tanks in the basement. You ever seen that movie, Night of the Living Dead? And then he goes on to explain that in Pittsburgh at a VA hospital had a chemical spill and it leaked into the morgue, causing the corpses to kind of come alive. The substance that he's talking about is 2,4,5 trioxin made by Darrow Chemical Company. Now, if Darrow sounds familiar, maybe the Darrow Chemical Company that manufactured 2,4,5 trioxin in the film is based on Dow Chemical Company, which really manufactured a chemical defoliant in the 1960s, commonly referred to as Agent Orange, and used to strip jungles in the Vietnam War. Agent Orange was sprayed in Vietnam and Gagetown Army Base in New Brunswick, Canada. It caused a lot of adverse health effects and is no longer used, although it was still extensively used in New Zealand up until the 1980s, where they just rebranded it as the Tordon Brush Killer.
Wow.
So to avoid
Just
being
needed a rebranding.
baby. To avoid being sued by the Dow Chemical Company, the makers of Return of the Living Dead created the name Darrow, which sounds a lot like Dow when pronounced, with the spelling being different.
Darrow.
Sure.
So the Dow or the Darrow company, they get all the dirt and the bodies and they put them into barrels, which are conveniently been shipped to the medical supply company instead of the chemical company, and it's been sitting in the basement for 14 years.
They decided to keep them. They're like, we're not going to call this number on here to get these taken away. We'll just leave them in the basement forever.
Yeah,
because in a warehouse,
why are you just going to hold on to those?
Because Bert's Bert's
just
kind of
in case
dick.
you need them.
No, I think Bert didn't want to like alert the authorities that he had shit in his basement, so he's just like, "Fuck it, we'll just like keep it here, whatever." Like, Bert seems like the character that cuts corners at any given point, including not calling the emergency line when he clearly should call the emergency line. Also, what's kind of fun about this too is that when Frank is telling the story, he fucks up the date of Night of the Living Dead. So I think he says like 1969 instead of 68. That was intentional because they wanted the audience to feel that Frank was kind of full of bullshit. So like some of the stuff he was saying, it has a clearly accurate, inaccurate
does
source.
Feel like he's kind of full of bullshit.
Oh my God. Yeah.
See, I just figured 1969 was the date that the actual zombie events happened.
Yes.
But and that the movie... Yeah. And see, I always thought that too, but it's got flip-flop in my head because I guess the movie came out in like 68. Yeah.
So we've got, I also do love his face. We're like, you want to see him? He sticks his tongue out. Oh God, dude. Also, one of my favorite ones in that is when he asks Freddy and he goes like, oh, the movie like where he sees a chaw. I don't know. Every time I hear him say chaw, I just laugh hysterically. I don't know why about Freddy saying chaw it just gets me.
You a chaw boy.
Shits right to your cockles.
It does. It really does. Every single time. So they get down to the basement. We get a first glimpse of Tarman pre-melted, which is fantastic. And after
Skin Man.
Skin Man. And after a good old American engineering slap to the side of the barrel, it obviously leaks and sprays them directly.
I love the rhythm of this, like just the
trioxin theme in this. That like that fucking theme song is so good.
Yes, I do love that, but I meant like the rhythm of like, are you kidding me? This is made by the goddamn U.S. Army Engineer Corps or whatever. And he slaps it in, the smoke bursts, and then the music comes and the credits start. Like just the rhythm of all of that. It's just like
those beats, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
totally.
It all works so well.
And then I love this fucking title sequence where the gas comes out. It is so good it melts a corpse's face off. So like that, I absolutely love. Now, how they got that effect of the fucking of Tarman kind of melting, it's all done in wax. It's all heated up. What wasn't supposed to happen was the glass top shattering. That wasn't supposed to happen, but the heat got so intense inside of that it broke the glass. And then they were like, oh, no, that works. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
They thought they had to like reshoot it. They're like, no, that's fine. So the gas leaks and goes through the entire building, waking up our friend in the freezer and a few more unfortunate specimens.
I can honestly say that this sequence, the main titles, the music and everything is my favorite part of the entire movie. After watching this a couple more times now, it's like just the music is perfect. And then there's something that I absolutely love about the way the music is building as the camera's panning in on the cadaver, and it's like almost dancing, jerking, and there's that beat, and it's just fantastic. I love it.
Oh, Scotty,
it's got this like warm blanket feeling to it. Like the way it starts, you're like, oh, I know where I am. All right.
Oh my God.
Like,
anytime this theme kicks off, like Scotty, I completely agree with you. Like this scene and then the crematorium scene later on where kicks off and does the same thing where they kind of do the POV going through the ground is like every time it just has this like this je ne sais, this goût je ne sais quoi.
Is that what the French say? I don't know.
All right, so now we get introduced to a colonel who has to be on call 24 hours a day because he was in charge of the goddamn barrels and they've been misplaced. So now he just has to go everywhere with a phone next to him. How was your day, honey? usual crap. This guy is such an asshole. He goes, "What's for dinner?" I was like, "Yeah, I made you lamb chops." Had it for lunch. I was like, everything about this guy, you're just like, this guy just hates
lamb chops for lunch.
Who has lamb chop? This guy, apparently.
Somebody's eating.
Well, it's his favorite.
Go take a nap
It's his
now.
favorite, yeah. I guess if you're in a prison of phones and having to be around stuff, I guess you just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to eat my favorite food all the time. So it's now 7:30. We're back with the gang who is now in Suicide's car on their way to pick Freddy up. Suicide is such an over-the-top character.
Have we met him?
No, he's like you see the Scooby Gang, and the only reason why Suicide's there is because they need a fucking ride, and he brings that up. And I also love the fact.
Right, but did we meet the gang yet?
Yeah,
yes.
Like 2 seconds. Yeah, they were just like, because we got to find Freddy, because Freddy knows where to fucking party, dude.
Right, they're all walking down the street.
Him attacking Spider in the back of a moving vehicle. You're like, what the fuck you call me spooky? Just that. I love the fact that he's proving his point of how wild and crazy he is while defending the fact he's like, I'm not that fucking crazy.
He's a fun character.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, that seems like the quintessential, like, I don't give a F punk move to do in a movie like this.
Huge. Absolutely. Like I like how transparent all of these all the punk rock characters are just from like Jump Street. I mean, like, one-liners Trash is giving are so fucking goth and so ridiculous the entire time. Ugh. So they pull up. They're like, they've got 2 hours to kill. They do not have gas, so they decide to go play around in the old cemetery to wait for Freddy. And they kind of Suicide breaks it open, busts the doors open, and then it's been a minute because it is filled with trash and junk and just like graffiti everywhere.
Old Resurrection Cemetery. What? Yeah, this is
on the nose.
Mess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, what happened?
Tires. There's just like, why is there a tire just laying around in the cemetery? I guess
almost
maybe
like
it's
a
become a dumping ground. Like,
people just throw shit over the fence, maybe.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you're supposed to have the vibe that this is like not an active cemetery. Like this is a very old, like not in use, shy of the back end of like, because there's the funeral home and the mortuary that's in the front end of the property.
So if it has that, you would think that there'd be a groundskeeper taking care of it.
I mean, it could have been Ernie.
Yeah, I think it's Ernie.
But Ernie apparently has been hiding from the authorities, so I don't know if he's staying outside that often.
I don't think your morticians are also like mowing the grounds.
You don't live here. I mean, it's obviously he is not mowing the grounds.
No,
he is not doing his part of the. Maybe he's supposed to be, and he's not doing it.
No, and you can tell because the whole grounds are fucked
Nazi,
up.
And he's
Speaking
hiding.
of fucked up, Freddy and Frank wake up in the basement, and they notice the body in the tank has completely melted. No, it didn't, and the gas has covered everything. So I love the fact that Frank gets up and he uses. Okay, so there's also a tidbit. He has a can of disinfectant that he sprays. They went to Lysol and said, can we use your product in our movie? And then they gave him the breakdown, and Lysol was like, oh, yeah. I mean, like, it can eliminate any odor, including the odor of the undead. So they're like, fucking, by all means, do it. So that's why you can see him, like, spraying the Lysol super huge, which I thought was great.
Lysol gets it.
Lysol gets it. They also go upstairs, a little bit of barfing. Where I like the ongoing joke that Freddy, Freddy says he's going to be sick, and then it's always Frank that just pukes. So yeah, after fucking Frank pukes his brains out, they start hearing a like Freddy goes to pick up this dog, and it is goddamn the fucking half dog. This is just a bum out scene for me because they try to kill it, but it just makes it sad. Like it's just the yelping.
Just, like, smash it on the head a little bit as it whimpers every time they hit it. So what? Okay, at this point,
kind of funny.
Well, maybe
though.
I think about it a little. No, it is. Yeah, it's meant to be funny. I get it because then we quickly move away from it and everything. It's not supposed to be that serious of a scene. But why didn't any of the other dog cadavers come alive?
I think they
took off.
But
they did.
I think this
they're
one fell
attached
off
to a pole. Like that's they're like
just the legs just sprawling on the side.
They would just see, that's what I would like to see. They look up and they just see other dogs like other dogs like, trying to run, but they can't.
I think the other dogs did get resurrected. I think this is the only one that's like on the ground yelping and talking.
Fell off the shelf.
Yeah. Because like
just hanging out.
I do love the on the side, on like the end cap of one of the shelves, there's all the pinned butterflies.
Yes, that start flapping.
That's a great detail. Yes.
I was just going to say that. I thought that was pretty clever.
So fucking good. How they achieve that, because I've got that in my special like little behind the scenes
pinned
thing.
butterflies. But they had to do it real quick while they were dying.
Real butterflies. They pulled a Dario Argento and they found real live animals to shove a pin into. Actually, it's way better than that. They got photographs of butterflies, cut them out, and there's a guy behind it with like a leaf blower, like he's hitting air onto the actual thing. Sure. And they bent, so they just bent the paper in the center so it just looks like they're all flapping.
Now that's some special effects right there.
Now that's special effects, baby. Honestly, even watching it after knowing that, I still can't tell that they're photographs. So they just look like actual specimens.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they are photographs.
Also, I hate leaf blowers.
I fucking
Oh, really?
I don't know. Okay.
I hate them.
I don't know if it's a leaf blower per se, because that might be like super loud. It probably was something a little less than that, but still it's still blue.
Fun.
It's probably a leaf blower, and now I hate this movie.
Interesting.
Oh man.
Honestly, so I live in an apartment complex, and TMI here, but every Thursday morning at 7:00, our neighbors, they have the cleaners, like the outdoor cleaners. They're not gardeners, but the guy with the leaf blower. And for whatever reason, he thinks it's really great at 7:00 on the dot to walk in between our apartment complexes down this alley where every window is a bedroom.
Oh my God.
I hate it so much when I'm actually here, when I'm not working and I'm here on a Thursday.
Oh my God. Sure. See, at 7 a.m., that would be one of those weird ones where, like, and not to sound terrible, because this is going to sound terrible, I would be having the window completely open and I would be drinking my coffee in the nude. And I would just watch this man as he blew through and see that he would probably never do it again.
Also, he's a very confident man.
No, that's even worse. No, it would be shrunk. I'd be like, my anxiety would be going through. It would be terrible. But that's the point, though. Like, it's not supposed to be like, hey, look at my dong. This is, hey, look at a very weird man watching you work.
I think it'd be better to plan like a whole Austin Powers routine where it's always just kind of covered by something as you're moving throughout the room.
As you're going through.
I mean, you might gain more attention from that, but hey, it's a fun bit.
It's a fun bit. He might actually come back to blow.
Maybe you
often.
can be like, maybe he'll like him
to blow more often.
Yeah, blow more often.
Yeah, exactly. And you can work something out. Be like, hey man, not 7 a.m. Maybe I'll keep the show going the show starts at 9 a.m. That's how you get it. Move back a few hours.
All right. So with the flapping butterflies, they also hear the screaming coming from the corpse that's in the freezer. So Freddie and Frank think about their options, which they obviously don't make the ones that should have saved everybody's lives. But they decide to call Bert to come in and kind of figure out a plan. Also, one of my favorite lines, because it's used in part 1 and part 2, watch your tongue, boy, if you like this job. And then Freddie's like, this job. All right. Also, a little behind the scenes, while they're having that crazy fucking argument, behind them is like an eye test poster on the back.
I noticed this time when I watched
it.
You did notice this one
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Bert is a slave driver and a cheap son of a bitch who's going bald too. Ha ha ha.
Yep.
It's the entire.
I couldn't read the "who's going bald too" part, I think, but I got all the rest of it.
And I actually missed all the dialogue because I was too involved trying to read it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I noticed Bert and I was like, okay, I have to read this. I also love like Frank like wafting himself and patting himself while he's about to talk to Bert too. I think it's just sweat stains.
Like trying to compose himself.
He's like, slicks his hair back.
Bert, Frank here. We've got a little bit of a problem. Which also gets leading into Trash goes in. Now we're back at the cemetery with the punk rock kids. Trash goes into a foreshadowing worst death ever, which is so on the
about
nose.
How you're gonna die?
I just think about it. She's
Speaking of the characterization, like the caricatures that these punks are.
Yes,
this is such a funny thing that like I feel like I don't know, a Midwestern housewife of the time thinks of like a punk is that they're just thinking of death and want to be dead all the time. So it's like the super
it's
That's
a
a good
version
point.
of
It really
it.
is like
Cartoonish.
somebody's idea of a punk,
Yeah.
and how scary they are.
Yeah. Like,
But
Chuck is the
it
guy with the
seems-
music who's a hornball who just wants to get laid the entire time. Casey's kind of the party girl who just wants to fucking party. You know what I mean? Trash is there to be like the goth, like the actual death goth character. You know, I like that they're all kind of like quintessential, like what you would think punk is from an outsider's perspective.
Like what someone else thinks
but
it is.
doesn't feel like it was written from an outsider perspective. It feels like it was written by an insider showing what, like making fun of what outsiders think it is. If that makes sense.
It's a really good point, because I will bring up the soundtrack to this movie multiple times. This fucking soundtrack is amazing. Like, there are certain, it's bonkers. Like, it's also one of the first horror movie soundtracks I ever bought. Like, this was like my introduction to classic punk rock
on vinyl.
Like, this was on, I don't have this on vinyl. I have this on CD for sure.
Well, would he buy it on vinyl? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the end of the podcast.
I know.
The answer is yes.
Damn it, Ross.
Sorry.
Damn it. Spoiler Ross.
But Trash's death, that she thinks is the worst, most horrible thing is, the thought of old men tearing her apart and eating her alive. Now, while she's mentioning this, she's ripping off all of her clothes, mind you.
Yes,
As the one light, someone get some light over here. Trash is taking off her clothes again.
I do like the idea that she just does this all the time. That's pretty funny.
Okay,
But
so this is a ridiculous.
I also have that fear. I don't want to be torn apart and eaten by a bunch of
Do you
old
think that's
men.
the worst
men?
way you could die?
I don't know
That's
if
a
it's
valid-
the worst, but it's pretty up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not at the bottom. I'll tell you.
I actually do want to get killed that way. I actually hired a bunch of old men.
Nice.
And I'm like, if I reach 85 and I'm still alive.
So right now they're young men.
Yes.
Listen, guys, you may not need to do this, but I'm just prepping you a little further down the road.
The main thing is we got to stay in touch so you know where I am.
Emma,
because
at any given
you
point.
will need to do this. This is an investment. None of you can die.
Scotty, I love that because it just makes me think of like Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, where the guy gets to pick his own execution, where it's just all of the topless people in Thunderdome clothes like running him off of a cliff.
Yes.
It's just how would you like to die?
Snoo.
Just a bunch of old men are going to tear me apart and eat me. Okay, so when shooting Trash's scene. All right, so the original one, when Quigley was getting like set up. See, I'm not gonna fuck up her first name 18 times. I'll just fuck up her last one. So Quigley was initially supposed to be naked and showed pubic hair, as was pretty much the norm in the early 80s. However, producer Graham Henderson visited the shoot that day, and according to him and the others, threw a fucking fit, yelling at Dan O'Bannon that you can't show pubic hair on television. Dan sent Quigley away and had her completely shave, which coincidentally Quigley herself found to be the most embarrassing part of the entire movie. Then they did another shoot of it, to which Graham Henderson cried out, "Oh my God, it's even worse. You can see everything."
Yeah,
So
I've never seen a vagina before.
Ironically, the next same thing could be happened with Matilda May's nude scene in the next movie that O'Bannon scripted, which was Life Force. So at this point, they sent Quigley over to Bill Munns and William Stout, where they made an alginate crotch piece assembled at the bottom of a G-string and glued it on. So basically they made her into a fucking mannequin. Like they basically did this so they covered everything in this weird cup G-string thing. So according to Quigley, this was a bit of a problem since every time she had to go to the bathroom, they had to remove it for her. Because of this, there are no shots of Quigley with a completely naked crotch area. Like she looked like a department store mannequin. She joked once that she never had more attention focused on her vagina than when they were shooting that scene. Fans still ask if there's any footage of the versions of her dancing with pubic hair or unshaved vagina, but so far none have shown up. Also,
Fans,
what an
knock it
audacious thing to ask Quigley. Like, hey, I'm your biggest fan.
Calm down.
You got that bush scene?
You got the
Is that like
shot?
VHS that somewhere?
I'll be honest, I did not know this. I think that may be the best special effects makeup in the entire movie. Because I thought she was just clean shaven and everything. I had no idea there was like something there.
Alginate, yeah. To be totally honest, for a really long time, I think it was when I got it. I think I have a Blu-ray of this. I think when I got it on Blu-ray, you could see it more where I'm like, is that like a cod piece or something like that?
I watched it on 4K and didn't notice.
10-year-old Ross going all the way up completely thought that was like scorched earth. Like that, I just thought that it was just shit, like she was shaved.
I mean, you can see something when she's a zombie, but not when she's dancing.
Yes,
like,
no,
that's
at all.
Amazing.
Which is amazing. I also have to give double points for her pants because like she has these shorts that the crotch rips off first and then the rest of the pants. Where I was like, bold choice. I love it. Also, triple points for the thigh-high socks though. This hits so many. We're talking about awakening stuff like Species and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Trash is the whole combination.
I didn't ever remember the rest of the movie because I probably watched that one scene, the dancing scene, over and over as a teenager.
Yes.
So that's the only thing I remembered in this entire
thought
movie.
the movie
that part of the VHS tape was really worn out. Yeah.
Yeah. I burnt the magnetic strip all the way through. It's basically
Suddenly you have to adjust the tracking.
Yes. I'm like, oh god, it's all
God damn it, Ross.
The image is like burned on the TV. Like it's just stuck on there for so long.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's one of those tube TVs.
So back at Unita, Bert rips them a new asshole, and they decide to kill the reanimated body that's in the freezer. So they all start talking about it, and they're like, well, in the movies, they got to destroy the brain, right? So Freddy's at the door, and Bert gives Frank a fucking pickaxe. Does not go as planned, because the second that door opens, this naked guy goes straight for Bert and right into the skeletons. They hold him down and fucking brain him with the axe pick. That doesn't kill him. It just makes him scream. So this entire sequence... because I had seen the original Night of the Living Dead, so like I even as a younger age, I was like, okay, they just got to hit this thing in the brain, and like that should work. The second the pickaxe goes through, and you just hear that shrill, high pitch, like, Wah! I was like, what the fuck? And then when he takes the saw,
it's just like,
oh my god!
The zombie's just like screaming the whole time, pinned to the floor with a pickaxe in its head.
Right. Okay. So also, this is in the top.
So slapstick.
The gnarliest things for me is when Bert grabs the fucking hacksaw and he's hacksawing the zombie's head off, and as he's going through the distorted vocal cords as it's sawing through his throat. There's something about that creeped me out because I was like, "Oh my god!" If you were screaming and your head was getting cut off, like it would
do something.
It would do something to your vocal cords, and I was like, "Ew, is that it? Oh my god, is that it? Oh fuck!"
It was
like
the brain
screaming.
Also, during this entire sequence, that's what it sounds like.
All of a sudden you sound like Tim Allen.
That's what it sounds like when you get your
when you just get brained with a pickaxe. But also the liners that are going on with this, like Freddy's like, the brain, and he goes, I hit him with the fucking brain. Cutting his head off and then having that fucking, oh my god, the headless corpse popping up and then like with his hands up like a goddamn Muppet, like and just like knocking over shit.
If this were made today, I feel like we'd get full frontal male nudity of the headless zombie running around.
And then I feel like we'd also
no
get
hanging
like
dong.
You get hanging dong, and you would get like blood squirting and stuff, and like squirting, I think, over the people, and maybe right,
or
maybe.
At least it seemed like
this is a cadaver with no.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't have any
fluids.
blood. You gotta have something squirting,
like goo, or like maybe embalming fluid. I don't know, something
oozing.
Green.
It'd be oozing.
Oozier.
We had squirting later, so
that is very, very true.
That's true.
No, actually, okay. To your point, it wouldn't have had to have been remade today. O'Bannon, when he made this movie, thought this was going to be a bro dude film because of the violence and full frontal nudity. When this movie started screening and tons of women were in the theater, he's been quoted with saying, he goes, well, shit, if I knew women were going to go see this movie, Freddie would have had full frontal nudity in this film. Like, he was like, I would have put dick all over this movie if I knew ladies were going to come to the theater.
Well, that's still not what I'm talking about. That headless zombie, we should have got his.
Oh, I mean, we probably could have gotten headless
Has
zombie.
nothing to do with Freddie naked. I don't need to see Thom's old wiener.
No, I was actually surprised watching it last week that they strategically covered his dong,
right?
Whenever he was running around. I was like, well, that's weird.
They Austin Powers it. Yeah, it was like, that's the Austin Powers thing.
Full circle.
Also, one of my favorite lines. You mean the movie lied?
Yeah. That is a great line.
Oh my god. Yeah. So now, like, this fucking
amongst many,
the guys held down. They're trying to figure out. They're like, what's it? Sulfuric acid? Was it Agua Regia? What are we supposed to do? Conveniently, though, they have Ernie the mortician across the street that Bert's known for 25 years and might let them use their crematorium. And not for questions like you're used to on this podcast, actually for burning bodies.
Ah, yes.
So they bring the...
And they're cutting them up they start cutting them up.
He says, point, grab the bone saw. So yeah, they're going to cut this dude into pieces. So as they're doing that, the punks are still road flare loitering at the cemetery as Suicide contemplates his friendships in life while getting dry naked humped by Trash. This is where we get our, you think this is a fucking costume? Like that one. Yeah. And then honestly, my favorite over that is, show some fucking respect for the dead, will you?
Absolutely. When she's like trying to grind up all of them.
Yeah. It's like, get out of here.
Like, come on.
So Ernie's working on a corpse, embalming him with headphones, and Bert shows up and almost gets shot. So we got a quick little rundown of rigor mortis, and then Bert needs help in a big way, and that's when they bring in a bunch of wiggling trash bags. Mm-hmm. So the rabbit weasel bit doesn't work.
Weasels.
Yeah, doesn't work on Ernie. I also realize is that and I didn't realize this until I'm actually working this script for the movie, is that when they're in the scene together, it's Bert and Ernie. So Bert and Ernie.
Oh my God, I never realized that either.
Are in so many scenes together.
Yeah, I never would have thought that.
Not at all. I was like writing out. I went, okay, this is great.
I love when he finally convinces him to. He's like, well, I was thinking we could put him in the crematorium. He's like, oh, Bert, that's cruel. He's like, let's just take him outside. I'll shoot him in the head, like Big Bang Boom.
I'm sorry, Ernie. I don't think you can do that. Also, more tidbits. After the rabid weasels are brought into the Resurrection Funeral Home, the tarp's removed. So what you see as all the bags are moving, what's in those bags are motorized toy monkeys that have the symbols removed. So it's a bunch of those crazy, like, fucking crazy faced monkeys with symbols, but with no symbols, just in bags. Which I was
Isn't that what you wanted your first tattoo to be?
Yes. It's an organ grinder monkey with like a fez hat, but very close.
Close.
Dude, that's a great idea for a tattoo.
Oh,
the symbol monkey.
Yes, the symbol monkey would be fantastic.
Ross can do it.
I'm going to draw it now.
Ross can do it. Come to Orlando.
Let's go.
Let's do this. I think this is actually the scene where there was 45 takes to be like, choke your chicken. But the punks are still being punks. Oh my God. Okay, when Suicide walks through and you can't see him, but he just says, fuck you, ball buster, and then walks away. There's certain like editing choices and dubbing choices in this that I know are terrible, but I just love them so much. And this is one of them where it's like, clearly he did not say that, but there was like, he's got to say something.
Didn't pick up on it.
Right.
Yeah. I'd like to just throw in that I liked the fact that even though they were all quote unquote punks, they all had a different look to them. Like Trash and Suicide and maybe even Scuzz were the most punkish looking, but then the other two looked more like new wave 80s punks, you know?
Yes.
Instead of like the leather and spike type punk.
I really did like
I appreciated that.
Yeah, because it just shows like how eclectic just their punk group was, and they all didn't look like this cookie cutter version of what you thought was punk, which I thought was great.
They all had some horrible wigs.
There are some questionable wigs going on in this one.
I love all the wigs.
Yeah, they wanted Linnea Quigley
Sam had no idea.
cut her hair off.
I spilled a drink. I got to clean that up, so I'm listening.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you clean your drink.
No,
he spilled.
Yeah, they wanted Linnea
everywhere.
Quigley to cut all of her hair off and to get a buzz cut, and she didn't want to do it. So they
I like her
gave
hair
her a
in this.
wig.
God damn, they wanted her to cut all her fucking hair. They were not stopping
O'Bannon was not. Yeah, O'Bannon was not fucking around. He's like, I need you to buzz cut yourself and then shave all of your pubes. Excuse me.
Thanks for the thumbs up, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so Ernie gets the entire scoop, so they negotiate terms with the crematorium service, and then they load the body into the furnace. Hardest thing to burn is the heart. I don't know. There's so many things. Oh, man, I like a lot of scenes with this, but like, I like just the entire crematorium and the furnace, I think, is built amazing. Like, there's some really dynamic shots of that. It's just so good. And like, I think what goes part and parcel what we talk about in this movie a bunch is that like it is almost like a comic book. Like this makes it's like almost cartoonish how they're representing certain things, but it's still so based in reality that it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. And then this is where we get our amazing Trioxin fucking soundtrack again as the green gas goes up into the sky and we immediately get this huge storm that brings all the Trioxin acid rain down directly onto the cemetery.
I actually have a note
down. Yeah.
Oh, no, I have a note that I love the way the smoke coming out of the front of the furnace.
Yes.
Like, around the edges of the doors. I love the way that looks in the movie. And I wonder if that actually looks like that in real crematoriums.
Oh yeah. Where like the steam kind of like comes out.
I hope
anyone listening works in a crematorium, please let us know if Return of the Living Dead has any factual basis for the construction of the actual furnace. Please let us know.
I agree with you, Ross. I love how it follows the smoke up and the rain clouds, and then also following the like trickle of rain through the ground.
Dirt. How they shoot how the zombies get out of the graveyard by having like almost layered scenery shots where it looks like dirt, where like they're clawing the way out. The one where it's like the water seeping through as it hits like the shoes and stuff like that is so
I love that
good.
one.
So great smoke work. I like all the smoke and everything. Now
the smoke work is fantastic. Whoever the smoke guy was for this, great job.
They put the money where they needed to,
where their smoke was.
Right. I mean, it's a big important part of the plot. It makes
it really is. It's almost a character in and of itself.
Do you think there was a storm overhead? Was this like a circumstance? Like, did this just happen to play out that there was a storm above, this went up into the storm, and that was all lucky?
I think so.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I watching this numerous times, I have two viewpoints on it. I think it's either by happenstance or because like watching it and how they describe the end of the movie is that the effect that Trioxin has on the atmosphere is immediately causing rain because it happened because it like the second it gets shot up into the atmosphere, it immediately rains. And then the second the nuke goes off, it immediately rains. So like I feel like whatever that substance is causing the rain versus like just a natural happenstance.
Stuff you can add to clouds to make it rain. So whatever chemicals could.
I kind of like it the other way.
It just happens.
I kind of like it happenstance because it just adds to how bumbling those guys are. It's like, we're just gonna we're gonna take care of this. We're burning this, and oh crap, it had just happened.
Everything
they
do
moment.
fucks it up.
Doing the wrong thing. They should have just called the number right away on the barrel. Like what didn't one of them suggest it? Like, should we call the number? No, don't call that number.
This place will be full of whatever. Yeah,
Freddie literally is like, we just need to call the number. Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, it probably could have been contained.
Right. So the punks run for shelter as Tina goes inside of the warehouse. The car won't start, and they get some pretty rad scenes. This is when the furnace, water going down to the ground, hitting the corpses in the coffins. Frank and Freddie are now feeling like hell, and for once they decide to do the right thing and actually take them to a hospital. So they decide to call an ambulance. So the punks in the car are hearing fucking moaning or something from the cemetery as we get a slow-mo grave tour and bodies.
This is acid rain. They also ran to the car because when it was raining, it was like burning them up.
And Trash is like, it's all over my body. And like in Suicide's car, also like the top is up, but it's got holes in it. So like it is not.
And the windows don't roll up.
He busted him out because he was like mad or something. He says he has some throwaway line about why the windows aren't there. He broke them.
That's funny. I missed it. I love that.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like it's so fucking good. So Tina starts searching the warehouse. And gets to the basement where we get the personal, humble opinion, the best fucking zombie to ever see the silver screen, Tarman. Like, this is the best zombie ever, hands down. I will fight someone in public for it.
I wrote the same thing.
Let's make that happen.
Interesting. Yeah. Who wants to fight Ross?
In public over zombies. He's just so cool looking. Like, they have...
Yeah.
Oh,
and the way he moves, his movement, everything about him is
because the guy who does this is an actor, but also a puppeteer. And I think that he did work after for Jim Henson Studios after this. So like, and like the way that he moves and stuff, he was like thin enough that like, and there's, okay. I could go on for almost an hour just about the makeup of Tarman. Like, just do it. That's it. We're just going off the rails.
Ross is going for an hour. All right.
Oh God. It's
just real cool.
It's really, really cool.
It's just like really cool. And I like
it's just really cool, man. Well, no, because I think in a lot of zombie movies, you get certain levels of decomposition where it's like what you would think a person in a suit could get to, and this is the first time like actually seeing like a skeletal form look like a fucking skeleton. Like he's got goo and organs and shit like that, but legitimately the first time I saw that, it freaked me out where I was like, how the fuck did they pull that off? Like it looks too sunken in. Like I was like, at first I was like, is that a puppet? Is that like a person behind it? Like, I don't know. Just Tarman in and of itself is fantastic. Oh,
I agree.
Earlier on, we learned that the third step's a bitch, and it totally is because Tina tries running up the stairs and falls through that.
Didn't work out.
It's one of those lines that as soon as it's said, you're like, that's going to
come
be a
into
problem
play
later.
Yeah, exactly.
So fun little tidbit about that scene. The scene where Tina falls through the broken step was done without Beverly's knowledge it was going to be done. Director Dan O'Bannon had a false step put in while she was at lunch, then told her to do a test run up the stairs. She wound up banged and bruised as a result, and also the reason why Tina doesn't actually get up and immediately run in that scene. Because she thought it was a real step and actually fucked herself up going through that.
I hate it.
Damn, what a dick.
What a piece of shit.
I'm a big fan of this movie, big fan of Alien and Aliens and all that stuff, but boo.
Oh, no. There is, dude, Sam, there is insane shit about the making of this movie and how they went about it. Like Bert's, was it Clue? Bert. He was such a fucking maniac on set. The prop, so he has a pipe throughout most of this movie, right? The prop department replaced the real pipe with a fake pipe, not for reasons for the movie, for safety reasons, because he was going so apeshit while filming that they thought someone was going to seriously get injured by fucking Clue like hurting someone, so they made him like a fake pipe. Wow. I'm damn near tempted to do a fucking Patreon exclusive just behind the scenes on this.
This is it. Before we can
do it again. All right. So, but I also love about Tarman that he knows basic physics and mechanics because he ties a chain with a wench to the door to get Tina out of it. Where I'm like, this is so good. I love this so much.
And I mean, so we've already broken one rule of like. Heads not like destroying the body or not killing it. Yep. He said brains at this point.
Brains. And then he goes talking live brains.
Live brains. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Live brains.
Yeah. He's real excited for it. You get that
because he doesn't have eyelids, so it's just these big old eyes. Brains. You're like, oh God.
And then on top of it, it's just another level of using like active thinking, active problem solving, and like understanding a winch and like being able
that's
to.
What I'm talking. Yeah, that's what I love about this. Is that like the whole motivation of all of these zombies is to eat live brains to not feel the pain of like decaying. So it's like they're all being functional, reasonable people. Like not reasonable, but like they still. Well, they're all, but they're still people. Like they're not lumbering idiots. Yeah. They're just people who are in extreme pain and will do anything to get out of that scenario. Which I was like, oh, that's like even worse. Like that's such a fucked up thing to be experiencing.
I'd much rather be a Romero zombie than an O'Bannon zombie.
Yes. Yeah. Huge, dude. Oh my God. All right. So the Scooby Gang runs downstairs and ironically suicide is murdered. We get a good head chomp. This head chomp is great.
A little too ironic.
I like just a little head chomp. Like,
like this. Oh my God. Tarman gets hit by like a paint can and then notices and goes, more brains. And like, oh shit.
So good.
Oh my God. So they all run up and get the fuck out of the basement.
No, I was 100% expecting, because our man has a chain going from his nose or whatever to his ear.
Out.
Yeah.
Didn't. Surprisingly didn't. They went for the shaved head
behind the scenes for why that didn't happen.
It didn't happen. You surprised me, but like that I was waiting for it.
Yeah. No, I get that, because like it's
nothing off on them or anything like that. I did like our little head chomp, but like
definitely. And I like that they just eat the brains.
Yeah, they just want some brains.
They just want them brains, man. They don't need that flesh.
Live brains.
I'm also going to fuck this guy's name up, but Alan Troutman said in the DVD commentary that one of the main ingredients for the tar of his costume was methicel. Methicel is a thickening agent used in milkshakes and was also the main ingredient in The Blob from 1988.
Hey, it's another one of your boys.
It's one of my boys. Gotta love them blobs.
You love yourself some
what is this?
Methicel.
Thickening agent used in milkshakes.
Methicel head. Well, yeah, it's like
shouldn't just milkshake be like milk and ice cream?
You would think.
Well, I gotta get never read the fine print or whatever.
Any milkshake I've made has been milk and ice cream.
Oh my God. You've been doing it wrong.
I love this one-liner from Spider in this, where he's like, "Where the fuck are you going? Help me bar this door, you stupid fuckers."
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Everybody runs out, and classically in this type of thing, you expect everyone to hold the door shut, and he's the only one that stays to hold it shut, and everybody else runs off.
Scatter.
So great. All right, so the paramedics arrive, and guess what? Freddy and Frank are dead, clinically dead. No blood pressure or pulse, and their body temperature is room temperature.
What do you mean I'm dead? Like, I love that whole freak out.
The paramedics like switch.
They switch. They start talking in private.
Like, what do you have? 70, 71.
What is that?
That's room temperature.
That's room temperature. Yeah. What do you mean? Like, I like that.
Well, technically, you're dead. What do you mean dead? Well, I mean, hold on. Obviously, you're not dead. You're talking to us. Yeah. Like, and those two,
bumbling idiots,
Freddie and Bert, are just such a great pairing.
Yes, I did.
Which I love what they do with two.
Oh, I don't to continue that dynamic
for those who haven't seen it, but.
But even with zombies afoot, the punk rockers will not call the cops. I like the fact Scuzzy's just like, they're just gonna kick the shit out of us. Like there's a literally walking human corpse in the basement.
A lot of distrust of authority in this movie.
100%.
How punk
of them. So they run back to the cemetery to possibly possibly get into the mortuary, and we get our infamous corpse coming out, eye popping, not great special effects. Okay, so there's production artwork, which I'll drop in the Discord, of this practical effect coming out, and it was supposed to be one of the bigger spectacles of the movie. Was this skeleton? It was supposed to be like a corpse. I believe it's a corpse woman rising up, tilting her head back, and like screaming. But the effect I don't think was done, because in an interview, behind the scenes. The shot of the skeleton rising out of the grave and opening its jaw is a major disappointment to Stout. He had it assumed that it was a work in progress and not completed effect. I was so busy being disappointed by other things, says O'Bannon, that I didn't have time to be disappointed with this one. It of course went on to become like one of the key scenes used into the movie and marketing. And we also get our infamous song, "Do You Want to Party? It's fucking party time."
It's party time.
So this is, oh my God. Okay. So this is where it gets a little dark, just as a pre-warning, because this is even like a spoiler warning for like the movie. So Grave 45 made the Party Time. The original is in the movie, but Grave 45, Grave 45 wrote a Return of the Living Dead version of Party Time, and the lyrics are about the movie. What you hear in the movie is not the one that made it to the soundtrack. Party Time in this one is about the subsequent rape, torture, and dismemberment of a 5-year-old girl. That's the lyrics to this song. And then Party Time.
We don't hear that in the movie, right?
You hear parts of the lyrics in the movie. So, like, you hear the chorus, but, like, it's a super fucking dark song. Yeah.
I did.
Which is super fucked. But most people don't know that version of the movie or of this song, because when the soundtrack came out, the soundtrack has the Return of the Living Dead quote unquote zombie version of this song. So
it does it have like the same chorus with just different verses?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
and it just basically talks about punk rock kids getting caught in acid rain, and it's basically describing what happens in the movie in the song. Fucked me up, because for the longest goddamn time,
I was like, I don't remember ever hearing that.
And then like I saw it in this special feature, I was like, oh my God, like no way. And then I was like, that's weird. And then I read the lyrics to the real song, and I was like, oh my fucking God. I was
interesting.
Like, yeah. So I think most people know that there's the zombie version, but the real dark one is what they actually use. It's
probably
in the movie.
Picked by the guy who plays Scuzz. He probably picked that.
Yeah, probably. So after, so everyone bails except for Trash as the dead start coming out of their graves. Trash tries to keep up, but her worst nightmares come real as a bunch of zombie old men eat her.
Which, of course, I forgot to mention this when we said it, but when she says this is her worst nightmare, all of us were like,
she gonna die.
Well, obviously she's going to die like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is obviously.
I mean, I know we've all seen this before, but even when you were 10, you probably knew that was going to happen.
100%. I'm like, okay, it's so on the, like, all of these illusions like are on the nose, where it's like third step's a bitch. Someone's going to fall through it. Like, there's so many of these where like,
I appreciate on the nose. I have no problem with on the nose.
When Frank looks at the fucking furnace and goes, some favor, I could operate that fucking thing. I knew for a fact he was going to operate that thing later on in the the It was.
I never even put together that he says that.
That was a surprise. Yeah. That was a good twist for me.
I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, he's going to use that sometime. All right. So, yeah.
I was just like, of course he thinks that.
Of course he thinks that. Right. All right. So the paramedics paramedics tell the boys they're dead. The punks get to the front door of the mortuary. They call the cops as Ernie and Chuck and Casey go to the supply warehouse. Oh, sorry. They tell the cops to Ernie as Chuck and Casey by themselves go to the supply warehouse. We get the great paramedic scene, which is so fucking good. The paramedic driver turns on the lights and we get all of the zombies in front as one of them dives through.
That.
Oh, God. And then the drivers get like completely overwhelmed. And I love that, like, the guy in the back kind of hears it and then opens it himself and then just like, oh, God, oh, fuck.
Yeah. So good.
I think that was the scene when I realized that how fast the zombies were because of how fast the guy, because he doesn't just open the passenger door.
Dives
in. He opens the passenger door and like jumps in.
Yeah. And they are like, everybody's fucking running this movie. So Bert and Ernie realize from the punks that the situation is completely out of hand. Punks at the warehouse call the cops as Ernie sees the open ambulance, and we get an amputee zombie munching on paramedic brains.
Yes.
And it's glorious.
So Yeah, Ernie had gone out. Why did he go out?
Ernie went out to go to
his car?
check on the paramedics or something like that, right?
I think he like went to get his car maybe, and then saw the paramedic van was still there, so he went to like check on it or something. Because he goes out for a reason, obviously. Whatever, it's obviously can't be that important. We don't know, but I love that because what he looks inside and he closes the open door, and he sees a zombie behind Munchin, and it's amputated and fucking takes off after him on his what remains of its legs.
God.
And I just
it's so
love
gooey.
That character design.
Oh yeah,
love that zombie design.
So more behind the scenes stuff. There are tons of photos and pictures of all of the zombie conceptual designs and how they wanted it. They based a lot of the characters. Actually, one of them is called EC. So they looked at like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, stuff like that. So like that's how a lot of like the masks that were used and some of the prosthetics, they wanted them to look like old EC comic zombies that have.
There's definitely a bunch of EC vibes throughout this movie, so that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
So paramedics are dead, then they can't use the cars. So they rush through the mortuary to try to call the cops and start barricading the doors and windows. Oh my God. The scene of them barricading the front with all the fucking hands and shit going through while the Cramps are playing, for me, it was just like fucking chef's kiss. Like it's just the punk rock soundtrack.
Ross, it wasn't just a sexual awakening. It was
like a musical awakening. Like this was like, it was great music. Like, it was.
I'm gonna live my life like this forever.
I mean, I hate to say, kind of. Yeah. I mean, like. I'm not going to say like fucking Return of the Living Dead for all extensive purposes got me really down the rabbit hole of like punk rock music and like 70s, 80s fucking.
That's so great. Good. I love to hear that.
See, I feel like that was me with Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and its metal soundtrack.
Here we go.
That got me into hair metal back in the 80s.
100%.
And when I saw this movie, I did not get into punk, but now I have the soundtrack on vinyl and I love it.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. I think it's like, I think there's a certain time where it clicks with you because like you like the movie so much and then you start listening to the soundtrack and the music so much where it's like, I don't know, it just spearheads you into certain genres of either movies or like music. I love how that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, now we get one of my personal fucking favorite scenes in the movie and probably one of the most infamous one because it's on the back of 1,000 goddamn t-shirts. A zombie is munching on some brains and he hears the radio inside of the ambulance. He goes on the radio and says,
"Send more paramedics."
One of the best jokes ever. By the way, we need to send more chuddle.
We send more
chuddle.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Perfect. We'll knock that one up.
Good.
Send more
well, also it's like now they're conniving.
By the way, we have merch now.
Like that's what I also like about these zombies is that like when they realize that like you can use a radio, he's like, yeah, send more food. Like he's just ordering takeout.
Because that is really changing the zombie dynamic. So we saw the brain thing and we saw he's using I guess it's similar in like being sort of crafty when they tear the door off earlier. Yeah. But this is like, that is genius. I'm like, fucking smart zombie right there. Send more paramedics, goddamn right. Like,
right.
And I got to say that I think the part right before he says that, where he's actually like eating the brains out of that guy's head is, to me, probably the most gruesome, like, part.
Because like his hand is like in his skull cavity.
It almost reminds me of When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, it's ooey, it's gooey. It's like,
it's
a brain. Gross.
It's like, just feels like an empty cavity.
Yeah. I think how they really represent, because like there's a scene, I think a little later on where like there's literal brains falling out of an empty head cavity and like onto the ground, which is like so good and fucked up, like in the best way possible. It's like, so good. So the gang gets everything boarded up, and then Bert fills the kids in on what the fuck is going on. And now the lesson in rigor mortis that we learned from Ernie before, we get to see in real time because Freddy's got rigor mortis. So one hell of a headache and it moves all over his body. He's got blood pooling on the bruising on his back.
I love this scene.
There is something that was telegraphed before that I did not see coming. I wasn't like, oh, I bet that rigor mortis is going to go back into play later in the movie.
Well, it's no, for sure.
Like a lot of stuff has been that way. This was like a good one where
you weren't expecting.
It was fun that it came
absolutely
back.
Because this one you weren't really expecting, because like he's just explaining to a dude how this like, oh, it's got to work this out. You know what I mean? But to have it like with Freddy, who's actually cognizant of what's going on.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it does. It's not normally a thing that would come back. So
I think it's
good job.
I think it's Scuzz. He's like, you're dead, man, and you're gonna turn into one of those things out there.
That's what he should. That's what I would have said.
Absolutely. I think everyone except for Tina was on board with that, and like, I don't know. That's
so pretty much like.
Yeah.
Well, she's just a little lovesick puppy.
Yeah, very lovesick.
She's making all the wrong decisions.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Everyone is. The movie of poor decisions. All right, so we get more paramedics come and we see window POV of them getting swarmed.
I love that. Just that big wide shot,
oh
watching them pull up and get out, and they just start running in.
Oh, God.
Awesome.
And that one zombie extra, he was extra because he just tackled that paramedic.
You know that's
that guy
one
was
of the ones
eating
that ate some of the calf brains.
Yep.
Sure.
He was a calf brain eater.
I wish there was.
You don't even have to pay me extra. I'll do it.
Do it.
With how bonkers this movie is, if someone had told me in the behind the scenes that because of eating calf's brains that half of the extras got mad cow disease and them in the movie is just them stark raving lunatics, I would have believed it.
Yeah.
Because of how vigorous these fucking people are on screen. So while that's happening, the zombies break in as an almost skeleton corpse chomps on Scuzz, and we get this scene's great. We get a good head bite. We got a upper torso flop. We get her like completely like chopped in half, and then Ernie pins her with like a fucking rod.
Yeah, so the zombie that bit Scuzz is like half a person that gets pulled in
and gets like
inside
in,
with him as they're trying to rescue him. Yeah.
Oh.
And they've covered up
But
the
now,
whole...
do you think she was half a person before she got pulled in, or did you think when they pulled her in
she was a full one? Because you can see like there's an axe hitting her spine, so like she was up and then hacked her and then pulled her.
Interesting. I always assumed that it was just a half a lady that climbed up there or something.
They chop her.
But that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, no, like yeah, it's super I mean, it happens really fast though, because like it's so frantic.
Then they get... I love like getting a long pole to just like sort of stick this this upper torso on and keep it at bay, and because you can't kill it. We don't know how to kill these things. What else are you going to do? That's like a great way of. That's what you do with a gator.
I also love the fact of because she ate Scuzz's brains, she's totally docile. So like she gets impaled, but she's not fighting, and like she even says,
I didn't even think about.
She's like and I was like, it took me like 15 viewings to realize that she's like basically like feeling okay after eating some brains. But we get our full zombie interrogation.
Wow. So you're like 14 when you figured it out.
Right.
I was like, what? I was like, okay, I get that. Oh my God, dude. Like the zombie interrogation of her strapped to the medical table. And then like, why do you eat people?
Not people. Brains.
Yeah. Brains. Mm-hmm. Why brains? And then just the pain of being dead. Also, great line. I can feel myself rot is such a gross.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I should have had a fucking pit call for this one, because that's a pit call if I've ever heard one. I can feel myself rot. Oh man!
And the pup.
And now I know what a pit call is.
And we get it right from the horse's mouth. Eating brains makes the pain go away, and the puppet looks so fucking good. Like the effects on this worked.
That was really cool.
Amazing.
I love this whole scene. It for whatever reason it feels kind of fun to me now, but I remember this scene in particular my first time watching, like it's kind of like chilling. You're like, fuck, like,
well, it's amazing because
sounds really bad.
Yes. Well, I think it also shows the reality of being a zombie. You know what I mean? Because like in a lot of other movies, you don't get the perspective of the actual zombie. You get the perspective of like the survivors, because all the zombies are like lumbering idiots. And this, we're like, oh my God, they're functioning
this movie's been
that are just
slowly like chipping away at the traditional zombie and
through the fun. I think this scene is also like what you said with her lines about being dead hurting. I think that's like pretty freaking haunting, because if you just sit there and imagine, like, well, I don't sit and imagine being dead, but you know, if you're,
did you ever wonder what it's like to die?
To have like a bunch of old men eat you. But yeah, like if you're a zombie, and to imagine that it actually hurts to have your body just rotting, like that's
exists.
Oh, what a horrifying concept.
It makes it so much worse. It really, you feel it in your soul.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I feel about having a soul or not, but for the purpose of this conversation, I feel it in my soul.
But it's also like, and then giving the caveat of it where it's like, you're rotting, but you now cannot die. There is not a functional way for you to die shy of like basically becoming
incineration.
Ash. Like, which that in of itself is so fucked up.
And then for all you know, you're just a bunch of little painful pieces of ass
screaming like, "Oh fuck!"
It's worse.
And speaking of
you didn't kill me, but I'm very badly burnt. I'm a pile of ash.
We get the return of Trash. And for some reason, the street is completely clear because about 5 minutes ago, it was full of about 150 zombies running up and down the street. But we get a hobo in the fog.
They have places to be.
Seduced by Trash, who's kind of now in like a Smurf blue with like a really crazy fucking eyebrow prosthetic.
And I got a question. For you guys.
We don't get to see it enough. I wish we saw it better.
How did Trash die?
You know, it wasn't getting ripped apart and eaten alive by a bunch of dirty old men.
Do you think they just got on her and suffocated her?
It must have been.
Maybe.
They just like laid on her.
Because her head is completely whole. So they didn't cut open her head and eat her brains that we know of.
They weren't there for brains. Yep.
You know, that's a really good point, because
maybe she had a heart attack because she was like, she got scared to death literally because it was her nightmare.
And she's covered in the trioxin kind
Why
of like
didn't
she
they
died
eat her
first. And
brains
they're
at
like,
all?
oh, brains.
Dead brains? They don't want.
It's got to be.
They want any brain they can get. It seems like at this point.
Big old plot
Why
hole.
are they eating each other's brains?
Well,
then?
you know, but Scotty, you make a really
They
good
don't got
point,
brains.
because in was it Suicide and Scuzz are both like perma-dead. Like they are dead.
Oh yeah, they don't come back.
They don't come back.
Except in the movie poster.
So
right. When your brain gets eaten.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they don't come back. So like you see both of them at later points still with their brains out, still completely dead. So you make a really good point, is that she must have died without getting her brains eaten.
And then because she died, maybe they didn't want to eat her brains anymore.
Then we're no longer interested. Some of this zombie logic is faltering.
The more we dissect this, I don't know.
I don't know about this.
You know what? Fuck this movie.
So going back to the illogical, back to the completely logical. Bert suggests isolating. Bert suggests isolating Frank and Freddy to the chapel, and Tina refuses to leave her boo and decides to get locked up with two corpses. Cops show up to the empty paramedic vans, and we get the good brain leak scene. Like, this is where the brains are just like oozing out of the skull cavity. And you guessed it, they get swallowed up, and looks like a Civil War veteran zombie calls in for more reinforcements.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
With the cops?
Yes. It's like, I couldn't pinpoint the exact war he was in, but like you could, it's just like military regalia. It was like, send more cops. Back in the chapel, Freddy and Frank are in a world of hurt, but then it dawns on Freddy the solution. He can finally see the one thing that will relieve his terrible suffering. And that is a very slow-mo attack in live brains. I don't understand why they do the slow-mo thing with chasing around, but I'm for it. At this point, I'm in it full throttle. But
sure, this movie's tattooed on your heart.
It really is.
Even its flaws endure.
Oh, 100%. But before we get too off the walls, Bert, Ernie, and Spider. I'm just every time Bert I made sure to put Bert and Ernie by Bert and Ernie. So Bert, Ernie, and Spider rush in as Frank slides
Talk
by.
Talk about a sentence we'll never hear again. Bert, Ernie, and Spider do what?
Bert, Ernie, and Spider do weird stuff. I do like the fact that Frank in the chaos just slides out of the chapel and it's like, ooh, and just like while all this chaos is going
sneaky
on.
little.
Oh yeah, he
like scuttles
out on his own. He appeared zombified at that.
He's a full-fledged zombie.
No, he's not.
Is he not?
But he kills himself.
I think he's still himself. I think that's why he goes and
because
he's going to kill himself.
Yeah.
He's doing it before he turns into a zombie.
Oh, that's okay.
Right, because if he was full-fledged, he would have just gone for the
brain.
brain.
For brains, bro. Got to get that brain.
I mean, there's some.
Or maybe he is
a
zombie and he doesn't. See, it hurts. It hurts so much to be dead that he's like, I'm just going to burn myself because I don't want to eat my friend's zombies.
That is true.
Or I don't want to eat my friend's brains.
You would think Freddy would have been right.
Yeah,
exactly. But you would have thought Freddy would have been like, I love this girl.
Yeah,
I'll go to kill my.
He didn't really love her,
but maybe he's just like pain's too much.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the same pain tolerance as Bert.
That's
Frank. He was still alive, or. Yeah, he wasn't a zombie yet. You make a good point.
Right. So they throw fucking acid into Freddy's face, so now he's completely blinded.
Oh yeah, the acid.
And this is where we get a great shot of the fuck you jacket too, which I thought was fantastic. Spider just starts freaking out, so Ernie does that pimp slap like that like a double tap slap. Like he does that like he's all fucked up and goddamn slap. Just
like you would picture 1920s like businessman coming home, like a hysterical woman slap,
just bagow,
which is
like a giallo,
traditionally
like a 1970s giallo slap,
giallo woman.
Yeah.
Like
I'm picturing an early James Bond movie too.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Being hysterical,
right?
But it's a variation on that, which I appreciate that he's slapping a man for being hysterical,
which is so good. Also, there is a time limit on the brain redemption because the tied up lady is now also screaming brains at this point. The docile is not docile anymore. She's like brains.
Yeah, it's like heroin. Yeah, it's only good for a little bit, and then you need more. From what I understand.
From my understanding.
Constantly.
So they decide to go to the cars. Ernie has broken his foot in the scuffle, so he's not going anywhere. So Spider and Bert will steal a car, and then, oh my God. This is one of the worst edits of this movie, but I laugh audibly every time this happens, where they're trying to explain, and Spider and Bert, Spider says, I'll drive, and then Bert responds with, no, I'll drive. Then they fast cut edit to Spider just spits out, hey, fuck you! Like, it's, I don't know why, but every single time. The next time you watch it, just watch it for that scene, because it's clearly they've just cut two, they're not talking to each other. They're just two of the actors saying their lines, but the way it's edited in, the hey, fuck you, just, I don't know, it makes me snort laugh every time.
Snort laugh.
I want to hear that.
Ernie says,
little piggy.
that like, huh? No, that's not the real one. That's my radio snort laugh.
That's not the real. Yeah.
It's my vaudeville one.
It'll come.
Yeah.
So Bert and Spider run out, and they're busting some zombie skulls. They successfully get to the car, but drive up, but they are fucking overwhelmed. They have to split.
Swarmed.
They are just swarmed. So they drive out of the cemetery, but are overwhelmed on the street. So they go to the warehouse where.
That I thought was a very effective scare, where it's like, all right, we're getting away. They're driving, and it's like, oh, another swarm in front of us.
Oh,
fuck.
Shit.
And see, I thought that they were being smart, and I thought they were going to do like a loop-de-loop circle and lead the zombies away. But no, they were just being dicks and leaving.
Exactly. I was like, yeah, lead.
They were just bailing.
Yeah.
Well, they were going for more help.
Just like lead them out and then bring back in.
Ask for help once they got somewhere, but
if I was in that situation, I want to loop-de-looped. I would have just gone for more
help. The loop-de-loop as well. Good to know, Sam. We don't send Sam out in that situation.
I also wouldn't have. Hey, to be fair, if I was the zombie next to the paramedic thing, I wouldn't have picked it up and said, send more paramedics. I would have been like, oh, radio.
Radio?
So I'm just not that smart, guys.
But they decided to do neither one of those, and fucking Bert decides to drive directly into two zombies into the fucking side of the warehouse, which is like crazy to me. Spider pulls him out of the car, calls him a honky, and then they go, we'll just use the other cars. And then from outside, you hear the explosion. He goes, yeah, all of the cars are now blown up.
There's no more cars.
I love that little joke. Yep.
So Blind Freddy is now getting closer as Ernie and Tina go up into the attic crawl space. And
real quick, I also love the design of Blind Freddy with the
the pustules and the burn is so good.
Just sort of like a mask over the eyes, the way it looks. It's just good design.
Yeah, I think it's like the mixture of the red and the hot pink is just like it again, cartoonish, but in the best way possible. Like it just looks like a living tech. I don't know. It's like those close-up shots you see in Ren and Stimpy, but in real life, like on someone's face. I thought was just fantastic.
I like that.
Right? And then now we get Frank dies by self-immolation with a fucking sweet Rocky Erickson song in the background. I love that man. I love that man's music so much. And then just to have a song like Burn in the Fire is just so funny for a guy like crawling into an actual fucking crematorium.
What are the verses though? Are they cool or is it
weird and
bad?
rapey?
No. Okay, so I mean on a musical side tangent, no. Rocky Erickson was in the third. Was it the third? I'm going to fuck this up. It was like the 13th Floor Elevator, I think, was a band in the 60s.
Yeah. That's
then that's him. Okay. He suffered from what I believe it was schizophrenia, but he was housed in a mental institution for the criminally insane until late 70s. And then he had enough pull that he did a bunch of solo albums with independent labels. So like he has like Dog of the Atomic, or is it the Two-Headed Dog, The Atomic Brain, like they're all horror themed albums.
Don't worry about getting the names right. We've already established that.
Right, yeah, right. But they're fucking absolutely great. I cannot recommend Rocky Erickson songs more often.
All right. That's the first time I've heard you recommend them, so I'll check them out.
It's select. I mean, once you get into it, you get into it. So cops show up. They're getting flanked on both sides. The police make a barricade. They need to get to the phone in the basement, so Spider is going to open the door as Bert will knock his goddamn block off. Mm-hmm. While this is going on, we get this sweet narrative from Freddy because they're now just not shooting him anymore. It's basically just him narrating what he's doing. Like he goes, "Oh, you made me break my hand completely off, but that's okay because I still love you."
My favorite is, "I can smell you.
Yeah,
I can smell your brains."
And like Ernie can totally see the writing on the wall because he takes out his gun and you can tell he's going to shoot Tina. Like he's just like he's gonna blow her brains out and then probably blow his brains out.
Certainly seems like it. I thought he was gonna kill her and like toss her down.
Shoot her in the knee and just like, all right, there you go.
Yeah, shoot her in the neck or shoot her in the brain. Give her the brains.
Right. So speaking of getting your knock blocked off,
Get your knock blocked off.
Yeah. Scratch that. I Willy Wonka shit all the time. Scratch it, reverse it. This is why I don't like emceeing. All right, so they get Tarman in. So they knock his head completely off as he exited, and thankfully, Suicide is still dead.
Yeah.
Bert gets a hold of the police. Even in sure death, he's still lying his ass off to the police, which I think is just fucking at this point ridiculous. But I guess through his narrative, he also brings up the fact that they all have rabies. So I feel that Bert inadvertently started the super rabies quarantine shit just by saying it in this movie that they all had super rabies.
Was that a thing? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, they're all crazy people. They're going to come and eat you. They all have fucking rabies, but it's worse than rabies." He's like trying to explain it, but not saying they're zombies and not giving them the actual information.
But super rabies, was that a thing?
At the time, you mean?
Like what?
Like the thought
in real life. You said like this started.
He meant like how we see it in Rec. Like as Rec, it's super rabies and like that as a concept as being a zombie
this
thing.
Is now I didn't get you were referencing that. Okay, cool. I'm here.
Cool, great. Let's move on. You staying with us?
Cops get over. Yeah, Sam, you're with us? Okay, great. Cops get overrun. We get a good zombie head rip, and Trash hops in on the feast as all the cops are fucking dead.
Yes.
They finally call the goddamn number on the tank. Something that should have happened like fucking day one. And I love this whole this entire, from the calling going all the way through. We get the military relay. We get our colonel as he starts taking notes. I love the rundown of him talking with Bert and being like, okay, so what did they do? Okay, so how did that affect them? No? Okay, Oh, it goes, and then
because
why
we're
didn't you call
just
ahead of
hearing
time?
his side of it, right?
Just his side.
response. And
So you're not hearing any of
that.
Bert's bullshit. He's just, okay, that's understandable. I would have done the same thing. And how did that affect them? No? Okay. Great. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that's fine. All right, we'll get back to you. We'll talk to the other guy and we'll figure something out. And then Bert tells him, like, they have a contingency plan. Well, the contingency plan is an artillery strike.
Oh,
guys, it's Archimedes hot dog rhubarb 909 at 135 miles.
I love that also the guy he talks to doing it, you can tell is just some guy who sits there waiting to be told to do something. And he's like, it's almost as if he didn't put together that would be like on American, like on a city or something. He's just like, where? Okay, yep. Fire it. You got it. Whew. All right, cool.
Right,
By the way,
I have no idea that I just wiped out a city.
This was when I realized that this movie takes place in Kentucky?
Yes,
Yes, Louisville, Kentucky.
Like,
you need a medical supplies in Louisville.
Like, first of all, at the beginning of the movie, when the punks are in the car, there is an obvious Los Angeles downtown skyline behind them.
Yes.
Yes.
And then it's always saying on the east. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they're supposed to be around, New York or somewhere, the outskirts. And then
Eastern
I'm
time,
like, wait,
yeah.
they're in Kentucky?
Yeah. I had no idea it was Kentucky until the end.
Can you imagine that they just nuked the wrong city? That would be the funniest thing to me. We're like, yep, what? Oh,
it would
shit.
it would make sense for all the everybody fucks up at every.
There is a sequel.
This whole started because it fucked up.
So we get the sweet shot of the missile. Like Bert going, hey, listen, do you hear anything? Freddy opens up the door. Nude Trash is looking up at the skyline as we get a nuclear bomb that blows up, killing 4,000 people and 20 square blocks. And it's a success. And don't even worry about it. The rain will wash away everything. As the process starts all over again, and the bad puppet makes its final appearance, popping out of the grave again, screaming.
Yeah, same shot.
Love it, though.
Yeah, same exact
also,
zombie.
The exact zombie, exact shot, everything. And if you fell asleep during the entire runtime of this, don't worry. The end credits is just a recap of most of the movie.
Also, if you buy this movie in 4K and watch it on your 4K UHD Blu-ray,
this fucking guy.
The end credits were not changed to 4K. So all of a sudden, it goes back to like probably less than 1080p, like the VHS version or something.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's amazing.
all of a sudden, all this stuff looks washed out and almost like it's just the film. I feel like I'm seeing lines. It was funny.
And now, Ross, during the credits, is this when we hear the return of the song Tonight? Because we didn't talk about this song. Of all the songs you talked about, you didn't mention Tonight.
Yes.
Which is the song that is danced to.
That
we'll
Quigley
make
dances
love
to.
until we die.
Until we die. Which, oh my God. And then what's hilarious is that what was funny is that she didn't dance to that one. They were originally going to be putting another song in there. So in the movie, when they were recording it, they danced to something else and they're like, nah, I don't think that works. I think we're going to do this one.
Yeah.
And then
Classic.
Tonight, which also Tonight's a banger. The whole soundtrack's a banger, but that's a great one.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Is that the Dance of the Dead? Did they say that in that song? Or is that a different song in the movie?
I think it's the... No, I think Dance of the Dead is I think a lyric in that. I could be wrong.
Okay.
on that.
Probably.
I'll have to listen to the vinyl tonight again.
You
Oh, wait, no,
it.
I don't have it. I'll have to listen to it on my...
Loser.
Yeah. There it is. He sold out the vinyl. The yard.
Look at us jerks over here.
Although I do like at the very end of the credits where it's fucking Frank going, not a bad question, Bert. Not a bad question, Bert. Not a bad question. He just repeats that one haunting line for like 5 times where I'm like, that's the line you're going to... That's it?
Of
That's the
everything,
one?
right?
All right, cool. Done. Speaking of
done,
done,
it hurts to be dead.
do you guys have any other final thoughts before we crawl into our crematorium of questions and turn it on?
I have something I almost said that and I didn't say.
Thanks, Scotty.
Was before I said it was kind of screwball, but maybe that's not right. But now after talking through it, I think it is kind of screwball. It almost feels like a 50s comedy done modern, if that makes sense. Like it feels like some like it hot or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, I can totally.
And
see
that is my final thought. Thank you for listening.
No problem, Sam.
Well, actually, I'm gonna. It's about the movie, but it's also about the poster. And I don't know if this would come up in the next part of the podcast. So I just want to say it now because the poster is right there behind Ross. You guys have seen Sinister, right?
Yes.
That one zombie
with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. So the one zombie right next to the suicide zombie looks exactly like the Bagul demon.
It totally does.
So now I'm wondering if they got the design of the Bagul demon from the poster of Return of the Living Dead. Somebody let me know.
Please let us know. Because if it wasn't on purpose, I would.
It was very influential.
It definitely
it's probably
like a
subconscious.
like a subconscious
somebody
thing.
who was a fan of this movie.
Did the design for that?
Because wait, hold on. Yeah, because this. Wait, that guy. This guy. Look at that guy.
It's exact.
Look at him.
And that's all.
And
I
it's
say.
in the background enough for it to be a subconscious thing for somebody. That's a great pickup, Scotty.
Well, I've never noticed it until
this
it was
is why
so
we
big.
added you. This is why we asked you on the show.
This is it.
Thank you. You can go. You don't have to come
I'll
back.
see you guys.
For the next
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks so much.
I'm gonna feed my cats.
All right. Well, I think at that point we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then, like I said, let's get it. Let's fire up that crematorium. And we're back for our crematorium of questions. The first one I got to hop on there is, did you guys have fun with this horror?
Hey, I know that question. That's question number 3, though.
I had a blast with this horror movie.
I absolutely had fun with this horror.
Sure.
When I think of fun horror movies, this is like one of the first ones I think of.
I would absolutely say this movie is fun.
Are we surviving Return of the Living Dead? And if we are, how are we surviving Return of the Living Dead?
No fucking way. Unless we started on the chuddle bus headed out of town, we're at least getting blown up.
100%.
These zombies are unkillable.
Yeah. They're unkillable. We'd have to drive all the way to the desert, get them all into like a gulch somewhere, nuke that gulch, and hope that whatever rain perchance may happen doesn't go over any burial
Just on
ground.
sand.
Just sand,
a bunch of,
I guess.
Scorpions and spiders and snakes.
And that's how the Outwaters happens.
Hey, there you go.
I haven't seen that.
I like it.
It's a movie. It's one of Brian's favorites.
It's an experience.
It's a hard
one of
watch.
Brian's favorites.
And not because of a torture porny thing. Just it's like, what's happening? What am I watching?
True.
Guys, are we making this film gooier or gorier? What do you guys think? Would you want it gooier?
I'm perfectly happy with its goo level.
Yeah. I think it's got the right amount of goo and gore.
I think it could be gooier and gorier.
That's funny. Ross never fucking says.
Never says it. Ross always wants it gorier, and this is why
I know.
it could be so much gorier.
He's got his Return of the Living Dead glasses on.
I think there's a lot of the deaths could be a lot more gorier with compared to what zombie movies you see nowadays.
I agree.
Or even at the time in terms of like stuff getting ripped apart, but they weren't, I guess, really going for that. They're just going for brains.
The tone of the movie. I think it doesn't need anything else.
Only note that I have would probably be if I had to make it gooier or gorier, when Suicide and Skulls get their heads chomped on, it's clearly like mortician's wax and stuff like that. You don't really see blood or spurts coming out. If you got a zombie that bit onto it and just a big old splurt came out, that would be
a little spurt.
I would also make zombie trash gooier.
Oh yeah, because you barely see that makeup. I wonder if
exactly. I wonder if it didn't look that like good.
I'm assuming it looked terrible.
Yeah.
I'll also actually, you know what? I have the book. I'll drop a photo of what Trash's makeup looked like in the Discord, so you guys can make your own judgments on that. But it's pretty bonkers looking because most of the other ones didn't really
mutated.
Yeah.
Well, they put her mouth like super low. She actually said on In Search of Darkness, she said that it was very uncomfortable because she was naked the entire time.
Yeah. Right.
And then the mouth expansion was way down here, so she was just like
mouth agape the entire time. Well, speaking of odd looks, let's go to our villain level. What are we scoring on power and iconography? What do you guys think about the Return of the Living Dead? If it's Tarman,
I mean,
it's going to be a 10 for me. It's godlike powers, unkillable. He looks fucking amazing.
Killable though.
I mean, okay, maybe a 9. Maybe a 9 total, because it's not god-like powers. Yeah, right. They can ultimately be killed by full decimation
very
of the body.
Very difficult, but doable.
I give the zombies themselves, I give them a 5 for power. Is it 5 up to 5 power and up to 5 iconography?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it 10 each? Okay, so 5 power. But if you're talking about just Tarman, I mean, let's be awesome. Honest. He's
awesome.
He's iconic.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be awesome and honest.
Yeah.
He's iconic, and he would get a 5 for iconic, but they literally just walked in and hit his head off with a bat.
That's very true.
And
exactly.
kind of
like he was taken care of really easily. So, but as the zombies as a whole, it was almost a fault of mine with the movie that there wasn't any way to kill them. I was torn on it because on one side I love it and it's claustrophobic and it's scary because what do you do in this situation? Nothing. But on the other hand, I'm like, I like for there to be some kind of a way out besides nuking the entire city.
Well, if you want to find out a different way, check out 2.
I've never seen it, and I think I will.
It's fantastic. Actually, great. Well, what are your guys' numbers for Iconog?
Sorry.
I'm gonna go 9 just because the power level thing, because as it is very difficult but doable to kill them, so it takes it down there. But I like not only Tarman, I like the amputee one. There's a lot of zombie and just character design in general. Although I guess we're not talking about in general, just for the villains. Still, zombies are already a 5 for me for iconography, and nothing about this brings it down. Unlike the Horde, where they started at 5 and went down for not being original. This goes to a 5 and stays at a 5 for being original, and then 4 for power, so 9 total.
I agree. I think the iconography of these zombies is good. When you get good, cool, unique zombies essentially, and I think those are pretty iconic with Tarman.
The rotting woman, the half woman.
Exactly. There's a lot of good imagery there. And then power level, again, I think they are almost there, but because there is some level, I guess, of defeating them. I mean, I really don't know how far I could go to. Like, is it like, because you think about the beginning of the movie when they talk about the original incident, they were contained at one point. So a small enough is still containable, but does it get too big where it's not containable at all? And this becomes a world-ending event?
And hey, why did Tarman die? If he was a zombie when he got put in that tank, wouldn't he still be kind of banging around in there?
I guess he's just in some sort of stasis or something.
Like dormant or something?
Yeah, I think the chemicals had him. I felt like the chemicals that were inside the tank were just keeping him dormant.
Oh, that's actually a really good point.
They're certainly preserving him, because once they went away, he had a hard time.
You did.
Cool.
I mean, we know, well, it does have a title, but should it have a sequel? And what is your sequel to Return of the Living Dead?
Should absolutely have a sequel. I would make one now. And it just because I listen to a lot of hardcore now, they'd be hardcore kids instead of punkers. But still caricatures and exaggeration. And I would try and grasp the essence of everything I like in this and modernize it without trying to do like a straight up like remake.
Totally.
I wanted to capture the spirit.
I would, I think it'd either be like Hardcore Kids would be a great one, Punk Rock Kids would be a great one.
I guess I'd make a requel.
I would love to see Return of the Living Dead at like a fucking like fest.
In space.
Like in Gainesville or something like that, where it's like a music fest. So like incorporate the bands from the soundtrack into the fucking movie.
Yeah. Bring the music even more into it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Ross. Cool. Yes.
I was going to say, take the same style, but tune up the genre a little bit different. Maybe put it in like Miami in the 80s and have it be like Miami Vice-y, like that kind of atmosphere, but these types of zombies.
Okay.
A lot of fucking coked up like people like fighting zombies off and like
satirize a different genre subculture.
Yes. Yeah, mix it up, play it.
I would pull a David Gordon Green and I would ignore all the sequels. And then I do it. We've actually already mentioned this before, but I would say that they did nuke the wrong city.
Yes. Oh, that's great. That's perfect.
That's awesome.
And you could even be like, they said they nuked the right city. You could almost have the same setup with Bert in the beginning being like, oh yeah, well the official story is they got the city, but they didn't. And now all that stuff, it's right beneath us right now.
Yeah.
And because it's David Gordon Green, you'd have like a full 30-minute segment that is the history of the lady who was torn in half and was tied to the metal plate.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In the
played
past.
to classical music.
And then he would do 3 of them, and they would all have their flaws, but everyone would hate the third one universally.
Except for me.
Really?
Yeah, I think the third one is a masterpiece, and I'll die by that.
Kills is my favorite, so I have no room to talk.
Yeah, there you go. I also loved Exorcist Believer, so
I thought it was fine as a movie, but I thought it would have been a lot stronger if it wasn't an Exorcist. That world.
When I found out it wasn't about the monkeys getting possessed, I wasn't interested. Believer. It's a believer joke.
Oh.
Then I saw her face. Do I have to keep
then I
going?
was
There it
God
is. Now
damn
I got it.
There it is.
Here's the funniest thing. Here's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
We did an episode on that movie. Andrew made the same joke at the end of our episode, and I didn't get it that time either.
Perfect.
I love
That is
it
pretty
so
good.
much. Now, since I've seen a physical copy shown as this recording, and I've owned like 3 or 4 of them myself, is this soundtrack worthy? Are we buying the soundtrack on vinyl for this?
I would. I absolutely would.
Yeah. Scotty's holding one right now, so like that. Yeah.
Is that a colored vinyl? Oh,
nice. Ooh, colored
pretty.
vinyl. Yeah, this is an insta buy for me.
Well,
Yeah, this was on Mondo, I believe.
okay.
Oh, you got the Mondo?
Called the Mondo, bro.
Oh, Mondo.
Cha.
Cha. Got the Mondo,
Cha.
Yeah,
all right, so yeah, universally, yes.
Yeah.
Are we getting action figures? Because I mean, there's so many good action
Yes,
figures you can get.
Plenty.
Absolutely.
Tarman, for
Funny
one,
story.
is an action figure. Like,
Yes, he is an action figure. Last weekend, I was at a convention in Anaheim, and Super 7 had a booth there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
love
came
Super
so
7.
close to buying the Trash and Suicide Super 7 reaction figures. And this Trash and Suicide from the poster, and they glow in the dark.
Oh my
damn,
God.
that's awesome.
Whoa.
And I'll probably still get them at some point just to commemorate my first time on Chuddle the Pod. So
little chuddle figures.
Sounds like that.
That's I
those are
absolutely
great.
love it.
Yeah, there's so much good imagery.
I will buy them.
Yeah, this is like there's so many you could do. Honestly, almost an action figure.
You could do a set.
I would
Absolutely.
get
Multiple series,
Barf
really.
Action Frank, and I think that would be a fine.
That's the one you want out of all your choices. You're going Barf Action Frank.
Oh, I know it would be Tarman or like
Half Dog would be
Half
a good
Dog would be amazing. A Half Dog
That's the
alarm
prop that I want.
leading
I
into
know.
props or merch. A Half Dog alarm clock would be absolutely what I would want.
I would
But
wake you up, that's for sure. But it'd be a horrible way to wake up every day.
Terrible way to wake up every morning.
damn.
Okay, size of the Half Dog, because obviously we're all going to take one of those. What other merch or props would you want from the movie?
Prop?
Prop wise,
There's a ton of stuff. Tarman.
Tarman's head
One of those
when it gets
barrels.
knocked off.
Yeah.
barrel.
Forget like not just Tarman, but I would get a barrel that if you open the lid, you see the zombie like looking up at you.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
good.
so we're not sponsored by them in any which way, shape, or form.
No,
in
we're not.
Orlando,
I don't know what you're going to
we're
say.
not.
Oh,
Yeah, we're totally
It
not.
doesn't matter who he's talking
Methicil?
about. It's true.
In Orlando, there is a horror store called Atomic Horror that actually has a barrel with Tarman in it, like with the whole crossed
real
over.
Tarman.
It's
A barrel of zombie.
fucking amazing. It is like
Life size, though?
Life size.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
That's cool.
nice.
I'll try to get
I do
down
want to
there.
go there. Maybe, hey, we'll all be there together at Spooky Empire.
And now they're open 7 days a week. So go down to Atomic Horror and sponsor. You should just sponsor us at this point. So they're not sponsored, but yeah. But
hey, support your local horror. That's cool.
Yeah, support your local horror stuff. With that being said, I think it's time to do the thing.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all, cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
Yes. On this show, we like using a rating scale of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger represents a different quality about a movie. You can chop off a quarter of a finger, half a finger, as well as no fingers. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about a movie. It does not matter if the movie is objectively good or bad. Bry Guy.
I knew it.
Can you tell Sam to go first?
No.
You really want to? Okay, fine.
No, I was going to say, Bry, tell Sam to go first.
No.
You sure?
You know what you did.
I think this is necessary.
I'm struggling.
Better to have it first.
And
I'll go first.
Right.
We'll get this engaging. I will give it a 1. It is very engaging. I am engaged throughout this film. And sticky. I know what I feel like this movie. I like that. Okay, I'm going to say this now. I like this movie a lot more on this watches that I've done than I have in the past. This movie never stuck as me with me as much in the past, mainly because, and it was something that you kind of brought up, Scotty, was the inability to kill the zombies was such a... kill them to the extent that worked. The rules were so bent.
It made it so inescapable.
Yes. And at this point in my life, when I was watching zombie movies, Romero's and all that kind of such, it was this almost escapism world of I can place myself in this world and survive it. I can figure out the rules and knew it. And this fucking broke those conventions so much that I didn't have as much fun.
I'm going to fucking die in this bullshit.
Right. I'm everyone dies. Everything sucks. This is all stupid. I mean, yeah, true to life, everything dies and everything sucks. But I wanted some other kind of escapism at this point. I wasn't ready for that existential crisis yet. But at this point now, going forward, sticky, I think it does get the 1. It's certainly sticky. I remember a lot about this. Tarman, the characters, the story itself, all of it has stuck with me for sure. T-shirtable with enough imagery on it and everything like that and representing it, I totally would at this point. So it gets a full 1 for that as well. Cockles, this time around, and I'm going to have to base it on how I feel now. It did turn around for me a lot. I enjoyed the comedy, the horror comedy aspect to it. I enjoyed the slapstickiness to it. I appreciated a lot more in that. So that was a lot more enjoyable for me. So I'll give it the 1. And rewatchable. I'm going to do this for you, Ross. I'm going to give this the 1. I'm going to give it a full 5. I think it deserves it in essence. Well, no, I know that too, but I feel it there, and I feel like there's a lot to me, and because necessarily I wouldn't rewatch it, maybe I would cock it up.
Cock it up a little bit?
Cockles is what I mean, because I did have a much more fun time watching it this time and talking about it this time that I want to give it the 5. I enjoy it.
Well, isn't this interesting?
I don't think Sam is.
You know what? Let's go. Scotty, I want to hear yours before Sam's.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go backwards.
Okay.
5 are rewatchable. I give it a 1 because I think it is rewatchable. I will probably watch it once a year at least. The Cockles of My Heart, absolutely, because this was a very memorable movie for me back when I was a teenager, when I was recording movies off of Cinemax. This is one of the ones I remember the most, even though it was a long time. There's a lot of movies I watched back then that I haven't seen since then, but I was so happy that this was the movie that I got to talk to you guys about because I got to watch it again after so long.
Yeah,
totally.
T-shirtable, absolutely. I would absolutely, especially if it was the movie poster. With green trash and suicide on it. I would love that. And sticky, obviously, I've kind of already answered that. But here's why I only give it 4 fingers. I watched the movie twice for this podcast. Mm-hmm. Both times I did find myself having to rewind a little bit because I was looking at my phone and I was drifting away from the movie a little bit. And I was like, I kind of missed that. And I did it both times. So I can't honestly say that it was fully engaging.
Sure.
Yeah. Fair.
4 fingers.
Yeah.
Totally
I dig it.
fair. 4 fingers in the grave. And a question for you real quick, Scotty.
Yeah.
If you were to have given this a rating, not using our system and just using your heart or however you would traditionally figure out your rating, do you think it would have been 4 out of 5? Or what do
Honestly,
you think it would be?
I did give it a 4 on Letterboxd.
Yes, my scale
because
is
enjoyment
perfect.
wise, I think it's a great 80s horror movie, and the only reason I give it points off is because of some of the datedness and also what we've already talked about, the inescapability of everything.
It's true. Yeah, once you set that barrier up, it's pretty hard to get past that.
Because everybody talks about surviving the zombie apocalypse, but this is not the zombie apocalypse that they talk about surviving.
Right.
No, at all. Yeah. It's like the zombie rapture.
It kind of ruins that.
Oh, I did that.
Boy.
Sam?
Yes?
Could get that rating?
I suppose. Engaging is going to be a 1. It's full 1. Absolutely engaging. I'm into this movie whenever I put it on, and I mentioned the rhythm before of that one bit of the opening, but I feel a lot of this movie, some of it feels just like scenes next to each other, so the scenes don't necessarily flow together wonderfully, but the pacing within each scene is so melodic and rhythmic and almost like a song in itself, and I love that. So yes, engaging is there. Sticky is also there. I have watched this movie a few times, and even though there is stuff I forget that I remember on every rewatch, there's some stuff that you never forget. Especially, I didn't see this movie till I was already dating my now wife, and I remember the first time we watched this and the Linnea Quigley naked dancing in the graveyard scene. We're like, all right, this is cool. So there we have it there. T-shirtable. We've already talked about the multiple character designs, the poster itself, Tarman, some of the framing of the scenes. I like the amputee zombie, the half woman, there's so much stuff, the quotes, there's so many great quotes you could put on a shirt. Absolutely T-shirtable. Cockles is also a full 1. This movie makes me feel good. It would kind of like we talked when Scotty mentioned how the opening credits was his favorite part. And I said it was like slipping on a warm blanket. It's at that point where you're like, oh yeah, I'm in this movie now, and I know what I'm here for, and this feels great. Rewatchable.
I see it.
I see it. I see it on the horizon.
So I love this movie. It's a 5 in my heart, but on paper, it's not. It's the rewatchability is a 0.5 for me. Actually, it's probably even a 0.75 because we can do that now.
Yeah,
it's a movie that I've wanted to rewatch way more than I have actually rewatched.
I totally get that.
And because of that, I just can't do it on my Letterboxd. It is a 4.5. And that's still amazing. It's incredible. It does mean it can't be a certified chuddle, and Brian made me do that, even though I don't think it's a 5 for him. I had to go with, again, it feels like it's a 5 in my heart. I love this movie. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It feels weird not giving it that, but I think it kind of like this happened on Slither as well. There's just something about it where I'm edging it, which is a new term that I've learned that I'm not a fan of, but
not a new term. You just learned of it.
It's a new term for me.
Wait until I show you the shocker.
What is this?
You'll be very shocked.
Yeah, I think I let my heart win for my score. I definitely leaned into my heart score.
Sure.
Yeah. You've got that phantom finger.
Because this is something I've been struggling with it since I made a list of all my favorite horror movies on Letterboxd. I've been struggling with where to put it. I had already rewatched it since I made this list to help me figure it out. And then in my rewatches for this, I'm still wavering. But it's still
we got
up there.
we wait. We got our weights still. But might come down. Yours might go up or down.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ross,
so that's
left.
where it is. Sorry,
4.75.
Ross is like, it's a 3.5. I do love it, but it is a 3.5.
It's a 2. All right, we're over. I mean, I'll go through the list. You're going to probably know what it is. Engaging is going to be a 1. Engaged every single time. I've seen this ad nauseum at this point, and I will still be fully engaged every time I watch this movie. Sticky, absolutely. T-shirtable, Sticky 1. T-shirtable is definitely going to be 1. I've owned at least 6 different Return of the Living Dead shirts.
I was surprised you weren't wearing one tonight, to be honest.
Family stuff, to be honest with you, and just, mosey on in with my Hawaiian shirt.
I'm actually surprised you didn't have on a Hawaiian Return of the Living Dead
shirt. Cockles, beyond eviscerated. Like, these have been 20 square blocks of nuked cockles. Mm-hmm. Like, this is
20 square blocks of nuked cockles. That's a good shirt too.
Right. Take a while to clean up.
And then they make the sequel because they nuked the wrong cockles.
The wrong cockles. It's just it's like chicken soup for the horror soul. Like, this is just such, like, I can revisit this if I'm having like a bad day, Return of the Living Dead. If I'm having a great weekend, Return of the Living Dead. Like, this movie helps me. It keeps me on the highs when I'm at the highs and brings me up when at the lows, because it's got the comedy horror. I mean, it's probably in my top 3 for comedy horrors of all time, for sure, if not in the top 10 of just normal movies. And then rewatchable, like I said, I visit this at least once or twice a year. What's funny is that, like, I've decreased my watching of this the last few years, because I get into this mode where I'm like, I need to watch this one and then part 2, and then I begrudgingly get through part 3, and then I kind of get into like Necropolis and Rave to the Grave, but those ones
haven't seen 4 or 5.
Ooh, 4 and 5, yeah.
Wow, I had no idea those existed.
Honestly, it's better that way.
They're real low budge.
It's better that you do it. It's not great. There's a return of Tarman, and the actor who played Tarman in, I think it's Rave to the Grave, but it's like an after credit scene. Like, you could literally just watch the after credit scene and get your Tarman fix and don't have to watch. Like, they're like made for sci-fi movies, I think. So, like, very.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they look. I've only seen stills from the movies, and the stills look low budget.
Oh, they're terrible.
Not low budget in a like. I like a lot of low budget stuff. Low budget in a way that turns me off from it. If that makes sense.
It's not that
sure.
So yeah, it's a 5. It's definitely a 5. It'll be a forever 5 for me. Forever. A Living Dead 5. You could try to murder this movie in 1,000 different ways for me. It is still going to come back, and it's still going to try to eat your brains.
You know what's interesting? This movie sits. This is interesting only to probably me, but on my favorite horror movies list, this movie sits right next to American Werewolf in London, which I know is also one of
my favorite movies of all time.
10.
Sam, that is so interesting.
See, I knew it would be. Thank you for backing me up, Scotty.
No, I didn't know you had a list. We're friends on Letterboxd now, so now I gotta go look at your list. That's amazing.
Both those Return of the Living Dead, Necropolis and Rave to the Grave came out the same year.
And they have horror.
2005.
Where are you looking at them?
Yeah.
IMDb. It looks ridiculous.
They're very bad.
Ratings are so
low.
Wild. I know.
And just like a different, not wild way this one is. So interesting.
It looks like the rights were probably pretty cheap to grab the naming rights.
It could have been thrown onto something. My assumption. Yeah.
But going back to what you said, Ross, one thing that I loved is the chicken soup for the horror soul.
Yeah.
That was such a great description of this movie.
It is. I think like they're feel good movies.
Feel free to take that.
Yeah.
Just
by all
give
means,
Ross credit.
That was good. Copyright free. No, I think there is. I think there's certain ones. I think for me personally, it's some of the few horror movies that I first started watching as a horror fan that really sunk its just talons into me.
Yeah.
That I can watch them in any mood and it just brings me back, whether it's the nostalgic feeling of being that age when I saw it for the first time.
And you're like, oh man, what's a boob feel like?
Yeah. You get it, Sam. But it is. I think everybody's different. You know what I mean? With those, you know what I mean? Like I have a few friends of mine in Ohio. Legitimately, Cannibal Holocaust is that's their movie. Where they're like, Ohio. God, Ohio, man. That's their movie. They can just put it on. They just like seeing a bunch of cannibals eating people. And that's their you know what? I'll watch that. I'll watch that with the whole
chicken
fam.
soup for the horror soul. They're just
yes. It's got a little more of a meaty broth to it, but it's the same.
You know what?
It tastes like chicken, right?
You know.
Yeah.
Turtle soup.
Turtle soup.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
What does the club have to say about?
Surprisingly, I think we don't have a whole lot.
I think
there was a lot of oh, we love it, it's the best, and it's a 10 and this, but nobody actually gave us a thing except for Alex.
And funny enough, who actually suggested it, and the last time I saw Alex had a Return of the Living Dead t-shirt on, which was magnifique. And thank you, Alex, for recommending this movie because it was, you've recommended it a few times, and I'm glad that we got to cover it. And more specifically, I'm glad we got to cover it for our 100th episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or 100th movie.
Perfect 100th movie. No better way to celebrate the 100th movie.
It's a good one.
Party. Am I right?
Party. Because it's party time. The zombie version. Let's be specific.
The soundtrack version. Yeah. Oh, critter. Scotty's holding up his kitty.
Yes.
That's Ziggy the Horror Cat. All of the fun with horror listeners know about Ziggy the Horror Cat.
Oh, yeah.
Now
I'm glad we got the cameo.
Here, I hope you made it that far. So, I'm sure, Nightclub gives it a 10. Horror Junkie said 10 out of 10 because Naked Cemetery dance sequence, which we all agree. But so much more. Let's dig into the meat of Alex's because he had a lot to say. Can't really put into words just how much this movie means to me. I think I watched it for the first time when I was 15 and I became infatuated with it ever since. I mean, it's got 80s punk rockers, zombies, comedy, and boobies. What's not to love? It has some iconic lines that I still repeat with friends and family to this day. Sure does. I used to constantly make fun of my older brother when he'd get fully gothed up by reminding him that it wasn't a costume, it was a way of life. Or my younger brother would call the house and tell me to send more paramedics. And I can't even describe the lasting effect that Trash had on me into my adult years. And Tarman is so fucking iconic. Tarman, it's his...
Tarman?
Michael
Tarman?
Michael Tarman, attorney at law.
He goes by Tarman. How could you not love him? I fucking love this movie so much. One fully risen figure for engaging, one very good covered Tarman finger for sticky, one easily torn off and constantly lost, a Trash reference, finger for t-shirtable, one military grade contained finger for cockles, my cockles were fully cockled, and one finger constantly on VHS rewind button.
Nice.
That's right. This one's a certified chuddle. Sorry, I had to disappoint you, Alex, and not give it a 5 there. But here we are.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
certified chuddle in our heart.
Follow your heart.
Well, looking at our score and how that kind of compares with our score overall. So our average is a 4.9. This is the highest non-certified chuddle that's in the crypt. So anything over a 4 goes into our crypt.
Oh, because I got the 0.7. It's our first one with a...
Exactly. Right below it, we have a bunch of 4.8s. So that is Slither sits in that realm, Terrified, Rec 3, Friday the 13th, Final Chapter, and Predator sits at a 4.8 as well.
Cool. So Rec 3 and Predator are the only ones I'm not the issue on.
Yes. And then, certified chuddles, just as reminders for some people out there. Scream, Psycho Goreman, Nightmare on Elm Street, Pussy Cake, Barbarian, The Signal, Deadstream, and Treevenge, our shorty that we love so much.
And if you haven't inferred it yet, a certified chuddle is a 5 from all 3 of us.
And Psycho Goreman is one of those?
Yes. Oh, we're big Psycho Goreman heads.
Andrew, if you're listening to this, they all gave it a 5, okay?
What does that mean? Have you guys covered it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I begged Andrew. I wanted him to watch it so bad, and he finally watched it. He's like, "Buddy, I just didn't like it." And yeah, so we've always been torn on that one, and it's been a running joke.
Is it a Mimi issue? Does he have an issue with the little girl? Because I did it first. It held me from a 5, but I think
there was more than just Mimi.
Okay.
Right. I love Mimi, but
I do.
But
now.
He also it's also like in our bottom 3 episodes listened to ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like Psycho Gorman, New Year's Evil, and then Candyman 3, Day of the Dead.
Interesting.
Those are our 3 least listened to episodes.
Interesting.
I love that.
I don't know what our least is.
Do you know what your most is as far as the horror movies go?
Friday the 13th Part 2.
Wow. Oh. That's 6 for us. Number 6. Our number 1 is Terrifier 2.
Oh, sure. I don't think we've covered that.
We haven't done those.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for the Chuddle Movie Club meeting for tonight. I want you, not, this isn't even a session. I'm ordering you guys. This is a government order, or else Trioxin is going to spill raining blood fire upon all of your neighborhoods. Follow Chuddle the Pod on Instagram and Slasher.
And Threads now. That's where I'm most active because I'm the one who runs all these things.
To stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow me at Ross Purvis on Instagram if you want to see some tattoo work, painting, all that fun stuff. You can follow Chuddle the Sam and Chuddle the Brian on Letterboxd if you have any interest in the movies we are watching, and jump into our Discord if you want to participate in the show or become of the Chuddle community. Just to make it easy for you.
Just talk about horror movies. Yeah. Sorry.
There's a link to all that stuff down below. Scotty?
Yes.
Please tell whoever survived the zombie rapture at the end of this episode who's still listening, please let them know where they can find you. Where is the podcast safe haven for them to get out of the acid rain and brain-eating zombies?
We are the Fun with Horror podcast. We are on all the podcast apps, whatever. You can find us everywhere. We're on Facebook. We're on all the social medias. If you just search for Fun with Horror podcast, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever. We have it all. So,
and again, check out their show.
It's fantastic.
If you like our show, you'll like their show.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's friends talking about horror movies.
I enjoy listening to Chuddle the Pod because you guys make me feel the way I feel when I talk to Andrew about movies.
Awesome.
Hey, so I would definitely recommend anybody that
listens
to Chuddle the Pod, listen to Fun with Horror, and I'm going to recommend the same thing to our listeners, that they should absolutely check out Chuddle the Pod.
Hell yeah.
Well, in fact, I already did.
I've already done that. Awesome. Scotty, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for our Patreon. Thank you to the listeners. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much for surviving Return of the Living Dead with us. This has turned into a Lawnmower Man episode. This is clocking late hours. But
it's all right.
Until next,
it's a movie you love. You can't help it.
I mean, if you gotta love, you gotta give it the extra time. Until next time, avoid the time limit.